What's good, gangy? What is good? Day 2 of CDL, and you already know I'm coming through with that YouTube stream for you non-Twitchers. All right. I think I'm pretty much just going to be watching it through the CDL site rather than Twitch. I just feel like it looks cleaner. And hopefully it translates over to my stream pretty clean. Again, you guys can watch the stream in 2K just on the cogwheel. If you guys just click on it, if you're on the phone, it'll say advanced and you're able to pick the quality. If you're on the desktop, it's a little easier, I think. Let's see. I mean, we're pretty much starting. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
MW2 is going to be a ridiculous year. It's just been insane. What other dirty tricks have you got up your sleeves? They ain't ready for you. Will it be sugar, spice, and everything nice, or slugs, snails, and puppy dog tails? Let's find out. Oh, Kismet blows it wide open. Kismet wins it! Oh my! I do not believe what we are seeing. Pandemonium! The thunder from down under. Just like that, Scrappy puts him to bed.
I know you say you want it. Now you gotta get it on it.
Whoa! Unbelievable!
They ain't ready for you. I cannot believe what I am witnessing.
And that will be the game. It is over.
Let's go. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Shh, 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 shh.
What's up, you gorgeous gamers? Welcome back into headquarters. It's Puckett along.
Okay, Alley Cat. Okay. See you with the vibes.
Super Saturday, 4 matches coming your way as we're just 2 weeks away from that Boston Major 2. I want to start with you, Allie. A lot of shocking news yesterday. Scumps, of course, big farewell on the show. We had 3 epic series as well. What was your big takeaway from day 1?
It was just an incredible day to look back on the history of COD and realize we're still in history in the making of the first baby steps of the Call of Duty League.
Today, we got a lot more matches coming our way, and Nameless, I was looking at the seeds. We've got some good ones. Atlanta versus Minnesota will be closing our show for us. That's a 3 versus 5. Toronto versus Optic Texas, though. The number 2 seed against number 6 after Optics win yesterday. And, of course, we still get a chance to see Vegas Legion as they stack up against the Boston Breach. A lot of great games. Which one are you most excited for?
Optic versus Ultra, 100%. You know, and you talk about the seeds there as well. Points on the line. Optic needs some points. They need some big W's. I'm excited to see this roster grow and get better.
I want to start our show by talking about the match we haven't mentioned yet, and that's, of course, between two teams who are desperate for a victory. We have the London Royal Ravens going up against an LA Thieves squad that got beat 3-0 by Toronto yesterday. And the Royal Ravens, they're in a tough spot. They haven't won since week 1 of the CDL, and we look at this guy, though, and he keeps us scratching our heads. How are they not finding success when ASIM is playing this well?
It's the struggle with, I don't think there's a lot of team chemistry when it comes to this squad. And you know that really happens, especially when you're hot potatoing your roster a lot at the beginning of the season. And it's a total turnover from last year, right? At the beginning of last year, they had a really hot start, and that's what ended up saving them, pushing their way through the online qualifiers to make it into champs. They're on the bottom of the barrel right now.
And what's crazy, it's the same thing for London. They have the superstar talent. Like you had Afro last year, absolutely frying. You're not able to capitalize on that with this hot potatoing of the roster. And now you have ASIM, who's literally making a case like he's one of the better players we have in our league right now. He's frying in all these games. He's getting the first blood and search and destroy. Who is going to step up for this team? Will it be Paul X coming back into the team? Who knows?
Well, Paul X actually is back on this team. You can see that face behind me. He goes by the name of Zero, and he might be playing in Challengers as Paul is now back in the starting lineup alongside Scraps, who looks to be picking up that AR role. Is this a good thing or a bad thing for London in your eyes, Ant? Because I'm questioning the identity. I'm questioning the roles. Is Paul running an SMG or an AR today?
Yeah, so I mean, I think you've exhausted a lot of options if you're Royal Ravens.
Yeah.
We just talked about their hot potato in the roster. I guess the big difference in this one is like Paul plays at a little bit of a faster pace than Zero, so you might get a little bit more speed to keep up with some of these top teams. Paul has been known to pop off in games at times, but I just don't have too much faith in this roster. Zero was their best control player that they had in a game mode that they're severely struggling in. That is a game mode they have to be good at. Does Paul come in and make a massive difference? I don't know.
There's a lot of question marks around London. On the other side of this matchup, though, we have a team that was back-to-back major champions coming into this title. So far, though, they have not found success. It's looking like last year, Allie. Is it time to panic if you're a Thieves fan, though? Because they're without Kenny once again today.
Yeah, I don't know if it's time to panic. On the flip side of things, where London is lacking maybe some in-game leadership, maybe some teamwork. On the flip side, LA Thieves is not lacking whatsoever. And if anything, from the series we saw from them yesterday with the fact that Capsule was subbing in, of course, you're always worried when you lose one of your main slayers in Kenny, but Capsule did what he needed to do. He subbed in perfectly, he got kills, and he did what he could for his LA Thieves roster, and that gives me a lot more faith for them heading into today with him still put on the roster. Of course, we all want Kenny to get better, but I'm hoping LA Thieves can use this as a learning experience. They're sitting at the 8th seed right now, and they're trying to overtake a lot of teams that are also winning at the same time.
Yeah, you can see the Optic we mentioned. They're at the 6th seed. They're also there at 40 points. They're with Legion and the Mutineers. So 4 teams all at 40. Royal Ravens trying to get back in the race all the way down in 12th at just 20 points. And for anyone who's just tuning in, why are these CDL points important throughout this year?
Yeah, they're massively important. At the end of the year, only the top 8 make it to champs. That's what everybody's playing for at the end of the day. Like these championships throughout the season are great, but mainly it's to get those points to take home that ring, that Call of Duty championship. And if you're not top 8, you're screwed. So these teams need points now. We saw the implications from last year. Go back, do yourself a favor, go back and look at stage 1, stage 2 results, and then look throughout the season at what happened. London last year started with so many points. They made it into champs, even though they had a terrible mid and end season. Now it's looking a little bit different for that team. So these teams need to turn up.
Shout out our man Bryce Tacular for the reminder before the show. And shout out to everyone who tuned into the games yesterday. If you joined us, Optic went to game number 5 against the Seattle Surge. Today, they have an even tougher challenger. They're taking on the number 2 seed in Toronto Ultra. But let's start here with Optic Texas. Scump, of course, announcing his retirement. Dashy back in this lineup. Hook on the lineup still. And we had Shotzi and Illy hitting their shots in Search and Destroy. This squad is looking like one of the fiercest teams, specifically in Search. They did struggle, though, in both respawns on Hardpoint.
I think that win for the Optic Texas yesterday was massive for this roster. Not only confidence-wise, not only because it was their first match without Scump, but because I think their matchup heading into today, it's not because I think this roster is bad whatsoever, but we saw them struggling in Respawn. Dashy touched on it in the interview that, you know, they just need a little bit more practice. They need a little bit more team chemistry. And unfortunately, that doesn't happen overnight. And they're going against the Toronto Ultra that is one of the best well-rounded teams in the league in Respawn and in Search and Destroy. So I don't think it's impossible for them to steal this series today, but I do think it will be much more difficult than it was yesterday.
They had 3 days of practice and now 1 night of matches under their belt as a foursome. Tonight we get a chance to see them take on Toronto Ultra, who has been red hot since the Raleigh Major. This team didn't get that performance that they were looking for, but we always talk about them as one of the strongest, well-rounded squads that's always working together, Ant.
Yeah, Toronto Ultra. I mean, I think it was like the perfect first tournament for the Toronto Ultra, right? Like, you learned a lot about this team. They had some really tough matches, like where they had to come back, right? Where they showed a lot of tenacity. Scrappy had some bad maps, and he bounced back. So we know what he's really made of. And now we're just seeing them sort of expand upon the foundation that they've built. And we're seeing these wonderful scenarios, like where I'm learning more about this team. Like, we talk about that hotel control that we saw yesterday in the LA Thieves match, them fending off A. Just so impressive. A lot of teams are folding in that situation due to, if you die once, you're spawned all the way out, and they spawn right there, right? So these are situations that clearly they're very practiced in. It's a testament to the coaching staff and the culture that the Toronto Ultra have built. And it's impressive because it's been in such a short span. Now, I know you have a ton of talent on this roster, but on the minimap, I'm seeing them make those next level cerebral plays. Like Standy and Kleenex are such a good duo. I have a lot of hype for this team. I think they're going to be great.
One of the youngest squads out there, with definitely the rookie of the year, the front runner right now. We had a chance to catch up with him after the matchup yesterday, and you were asking him just how good can this team be and what it's going to take to get their first chip. Here's what he had to say.
How are you guys going to set yourself apart, get to that next level, and actually take home a chip?
Yeah, I would say that we just need to just have our teamwork up to par, just everyone be on the same page, because that's really what divides these teams, these top teams from each other. It's just how good they work with each other. Everyone has a skill at these top teams. Everyone knows that they can gun each other. It's just how it is. It's just, can they work together at all times of the map? Because you might have one hold where it's good, but the next 6 can be bad. So it's just being with each other, be with each other's side at all times of the map.
If you're an Optic Texas fan, where do you need to be most worried in this series? Because yesterday, that guy put on a 9-kill streak in S&D. He set the league record so far. What do you need to look out for in this matchup? S&D was your favorite game mode yesterday for Optic.
Looking out for it, it'd have to be the hard point for sure. Just because of how dominant Toronto Ultra has been, I'm very interested to see what that map set's going to end up to be. I think the Search and Destroy will be fairly close, and I think that Control will be fairly close as well.
Going to be a great series, and of course, you can also catch all of these teams live when we go to Boston. We're just 2 weeks out, so get your tickets right now. Scan that QR code today, and you can join us in the Fenway MGM Music Hall. It's going down Feb 2nd to the 5th, and as everyone who went to Raleigh can tell you, coming to a CDL live event just hits diffy.
It's going to hit diffy, man. And also, we don't have Scump playing there, so I'm ready to see the Optic fans get hyped for this new roster, see the energy that they bring.
We'll be having all kinds of watch parties throughout the day. We'll give a few shout-outs on the other side of this break. When we come back, we'll also break down the first series of the day. Boston's back in action, and they're taking on Old Man Grayster. Clayster might want revenge against the social media team, and he might take out his anger with a sniper rifle.
In Vegas, stays in Vegas. Because in the end, whatever goes down, whatever you get up to, triumphs and transgressions. Nobody actually understands what it means except for you.
Welcome back into headquarters. We are moments away from kicking off our first of 4 matches, and that, of course, is going to feature Vegas Legion taking on the Boston Breach. Now, if you're looking at our CDL point standings, you'll notice something. Vegas is actually the favorite now with the 7th seed going up against Boston with the 11th seed. Allie, I was shocked to see that there's only one team below Boston, and that's London, who hasn't won since week 1.
What's so weird about the Boston Breach is you don't think they're the 11th seed, right? They don't play like the 11th seed, and that's kind of going to be the woes throughout this entire series, is the fact that the Boston Breach has just been so inconsistent across the board. Of course, we talked about Major 1, and you're like, oh, well, Big Wake got sick, and you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt. And now going against the Vegas Legion, they've been looking good recently.
And we love watching Clayster with the sniper in search and destroy. That could be the difference maker in this series. And Ant, I want to take a look at the maps. Walk me through this. Who are you going with? Who has the edge after these map bans?
Yeah, you know, looking at it, it's really tough. Like, I wanted to go the Vegas Legion in this series due to how good they've been in search and destroy, but I'm going to go with Boston Breach. You know, looking at this one, CeeLo Control is a little bit of an unknown on the side of both these teams. Not a ton of success for them. I think Boston take this in a 3-1 fashion. I think their hard point is simply just better than the Vegas Legion, and they're going to take that control.
I think when it comes to the series layout, especially in that map 1, it's going to be a little bit of an Awakening versus Temp series for me. In that opening map 1, Awakening has a 1.29 on Embassy Hardpoint, and Temp has a 1.26. Fast forward over to the El Asilo Search and Destroy. Big Wake has 1.4, and Temp is trailing right behind him with a 1.38. So should this be a Game 5 series, I'm leaning towards the Vegas Legion, but keep your eyes on those 2 players.
We got channel points flying all around in the chat right now, and hopefully you guys will continue that throughout the day. But let's make it official here on the desk. You lost to Optic. That was Scump's final farewell. Today, you're coming in with some new vengeance. I go in Boston Breach. They need the W. I don't think Vegas is really going to be that upset if they drop this one.
I think I'm going to go with the Boston Breach and the respawns here specifically, but if we get to that Game 5, I'm going to have to switch over to the Vegas Legion.
Okay, so Boston if it goes 4.
Yeah,
Vegas
Boston
if it goes 5.
Vegas if it goes 5.
It was like pick your poison with the searches for Boston against them here, but I'm going to go with the Boston Breach. I think they win in 3-1 fashion. All 3 respawns are taken.
3 breaches. Didn't see that one coming. That's how we have it on the desk. Let us know what you see happening in the chat. It's time to get this one loaded up and started as we hand it over to our casters. We got Brycey and Ton.
Thank you very much, Puckett. Yes, let's get into this one. And yeah, interesting point brought up by the desk. Las Vegas may be 7th and Boston may be 11th, but this game doesn't feel like it. What this game does feel like is a great indicator of how these 2 teams are going to measure up going into Major 2. Yes, Boston Breach have had their woes, but you can't really compare woes with the Legion. They've had significantly worse over their lifetime, Ton.
Yeah, it really has been a rocky road for the Vegas Legion, but things are definitely on the up. The Boston Breach, things started nicely, and since then, not necessarily looked the best. But I kind of agree with the sentiment from the desk. You know, if we do go to that map number 5, I think everybody in the chat, everybody in the studio, everywhere will pretty much lean towards the side of Vegas Legion. It's whether or not we do get there. That is the question. But if they can force it there, the Search and Destroy has looked really good, but the Boston Breach will be hoping to force the fact that that should not happen. Are they going to be able to close this one out in 4? That's the ideal situation for them. I think the control is the biggest one for me, though. Both teams not looking that good on that game mode, full stop. It's very much a mid-off in that one, but we're going to have Embassy Hardpoint to kick things off. Hardpoint vetoes actually went a little bit strange there, to be honest with you, Brycey. We were kind of having a look at things, theorizing which way we thought things were going to go. Vegas Legion have vetoed Hotel Hardpoint 8 out of their 11 matches so far in Modern Warfare 2, and it's Boston's best map. Guess who vetoed it? Boston! Couldn't believe my eyes. Anyway, so that doesn't really make too much sense. We end up with Embassy first. Not too sure why Boston are choosing to get rid of Hotel. It was free and open, but they do so and get it gone. Here we are in Embassy for some peculiar reason.
Well, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Obviously, they've been working hard in the background to figure this one out, especially since they got Nesload last time around. Let's see if the adjustments they have made gives them a better start for it. And of course, these two teams, realistically, you got to say the Legion, for me, are my dark horse moving forward into Major 2. I think they are improving leaps and bounds every single time we have seen them. For Boston Breach, probably a little bit more consistency could pay out.
And a big part of that growth, I want to say, for the side of Vegas Legion, Clayster. From stage 1 to stage 2, he has improved massively, and 0.89 over the whole stage of stage 1. So far in stage 2, a 1.14, so a good start from him in this game specifically. Not a great start for Vegas Legion, though, as P1 goes 24 points towards the side of Boston Breach. It's a little bit of a mixer heading over towards P2, but Boston Breach will quite happily take those 24 points. It is TJ trying to answer back, set up, not really anybody's to hold on to just yet.
I say TJ probably a little bit stressed there, knowing he had so many angles he had to cover by himself. But the battle for the rotations has gone the way of the Legion. They're going to be here to begin with, but reinforcements will be streaming in from both sides. Might be a big play out of Clayster here if we can catch this team on the bounce. Doesn't matter. Prolo gets 2. Clay gets the 3rd.
Nice.
A full sweep out for Legion as Temp cleans it up. And now they're going to be watching for the spawns.
A little bit of a split here for the Boston Breach. Are they going to be able to read this? Temp will say thank you very much. It's 2 of the easiest kills he'll pick up all day long. Good hold from the Vegas Legion so far. Rotations are going to be important in this map specifically. Both two teams very even when it does come down to statistics in terms of those rotational wins. The breaking and the holding, though, just on the side of Boston. The holding for Vegas Legion, though, looking pretty solid.
Tem not even bothering to challenge it, saying, hey, Methods, if I can catch you sprinting, all good, but I don't need to challenge quite yet. Eventually, though, his teammates do fall, and Tem is going to battle for scrap time, but more importantly, the rotation. Those spawns coming in at tennis court ton may mean Proluke gets lucky climbing the ladder, but I don't think so.
Yeah, the force from Boston towards P2. It's kind of what starts spawning Vegas Legion towards this side of the map. It isn't going to work out for the Legion either way. Boston Breach are still in control. Happy to be here after P2 didn't really go their way. Get rotated early over towards the planter, locking things down, but you need to stay alive. 3 dead now.
The Awakening playing for his life here. He's still going to be weak, but Proluke gives him the shoulder, but Awakening eventually gets it down to a nade. And it will be the Legion who gain control of top P3. You can see already they're looking pretty good. The rotation is going to come in as well. Boston ready for this next hill.
This next hill is really where both these two teams have been seeing a lot of success. But it is Boston with the slight more success, and well, you're going to get plenty of that success over towards P3 as well. P4 has been the money maker for both of these two squads, though. Boston Breach, the more beneficiary of it, though, and can they be here? They have the rotation. Bryce is looking good for them.
Normally you go through the top to try and break this at the moment. Nobody really has for Legion. Boston's still going to be holding firm, but TJ will break into this hill. Both teams just looking for positioning methods, trying to wall back TJ. TJ fighting for his life, knowing where these players are coming from. And as the trades continue to go down, it's the Legion who are going to get the better side of it. They have managed to push Boston out here, which is considerable, considering they were not there on the rotation originally.
That's a hill that Boston Breach. I don't want to see you have it as a crutch that you pick up some decent points on, but it's gonna definitely influence the game. Vegas Legion are definitely here. It's been a scrappy one so far. Now the team able to lock down a good amount of time, and both hills being traded left, right, and center as well. Both teams in and out. Vegas Legion having another look at it here, though. TJ will find one. The setup is there, but they got to start be thinking about this rotation over towards the kitchen, and well, they'll be thinking about it now. 2 dead. Boston Breach do get back in. It's going to be a pretty tight game by the time we get over. Big kill from Prolid on the rotation. I said it's both teams getting a good solid hold, and all of a sudden being broken very, very rapidly.
Oh, a big part of that is probably Awakening. Started off very, very slow. 0 and 3, 0 and 4, I believe. Now 7 and 4. Has turned up the temperature. Vivid also going on his own streak. It's been unanswered kills for Boston Breach. The Legion now going to try and break. Nero going to get the first one down. Looking for the next one. Awakening coming flying in, but he also gets traded out as Legion will gain this one before they lose the lead.
Good breaks coming through again. Both teams clearly quite clinical with it. Nero will find the kill at the temp as well. Vegas Legion just really not at, well, all at sea actually, if you like, but Callista finds 2. The SMG out getting the job done. Nelly finds the 3rd there. It's temp to clean it up, but some good time here for the Vegas Legion. This is as big as the lead has really looked for, well, since P1, to be honest. We're Boston Breach managed to pick up a decent amount of time, but this is a really nice hole over towards Kitchen. And heading into the second rotation of Hills, it's going to be about a 40-point lead if they can hold on to this last 10 seconds.
Plays cooking. 24 knows teammates have gone down. He's going to wait this one out, see if anybody comes with a trade. He's got the pre-aim ready, and he actually takes down one, but he will be traded again regardless. The 5 streak ends there. And now as we go back towards P1, it is still a very close game. Legion will be leading to begin with. Probably won't want to give away as many points in this P1 as they did last time.
Pro is just in a position to try and disrupt anything going on over towards P1. We've seen Boston Breach pick up a good amount of time here when we did kick the game off. Spawns have been put though heading over towards P2, but a lot of things can happen in this next 35 seconds of P1. Both two teams fighting for control of Orange, just trying to pick up any scrap time that they possibly can do. First, they may well clear the way here for a few seconds to go towards Vegas Legion. Rotational fight going on though. TJ will win at P2 control currently with Legion.
That's exactly where they managed to get the lead last time, Tun. We're looking to do it again. Obviously, still a little bit of scrap time there for Boston. Maybe challenged, but Temp isn't going to get it. This now becomes critical. Legion want to hold this. You can already see out towards the back. Vivid looking for the pinch, looking for the opportunity. Nero already gets his player he was going to look for there eventually. And Vivid has become kind of obsolete. He might have to move up here and get into this one for the pinch. He is going to do exactly that, but TJ finds him before he can as both teams try to get in a better position to take this one. At the moment, Boston Breach doing the better job.
Plus this, well, version of try and find me if you can towards the back of the map's been going on. It's Vegas Legion who eventually get away with these trades towards the front side. It's back and forth. It seems like Boston Breach were in a good spot, but Vegas Legion once again going to pick up some really good time over towards P2 because Clayster's beaming. Can he find Nero as well? The reach out comes in. Clayster's like, why has he done that? Well, he's done it because he's beamed you and solved the rest of Boston Breach. They find a way through with 20 seconds to go. Vegas Legion walking away, licking their wounds. They have somebody already over towards Planter as well. Tennis court control. Can they get some good time here, Vegas Legion? It was mostly Boston last time.
Oh, Nero is a dangerous man here. He knows he's going to need to stay alive. Wait for his teammates to back him up, but he could be the thorn in the side, but at the back is going to be Clayster. And Nero, the last man alive, they're going to know he's there as well. They haven't seen him in some time. The chow comes through. Clayster cleans up another one. Every single time you think Boston are about to tie this game up or take the lead, Legion leap forward again.
Clayster, really big moment there. Hiding over towards the back generator, lying down the sneaky little beaver. Finds a couple of kills, locks down the hill for Legion, but they need to manage to hold on to this if they can. It's a 2-for-2 trade. They're up the ladders.
As it worked out for him, Vivid is going to be here. 1 health point. Oh, it doesn't matter. 1 HP in a dream. Stays alive, and it's the same old story. Hill after hill. Legion ahead. Boston with a scrap. Coming back into it once more. As we head over to this next hill, will either of these teams definitively give us a lead, Ton?
Boston Breach looking to try and find the lead. P4, as said, has been where they have been getting a lot of points. It's their moneymaker, but are the comms there as well? Let's go for listening with the Boston Breach.
Down here. Be back on. Watch him back off. I'm flanking him. I'm flanking him. Also flanking him. Left corner. Front chair's weak. Okay, front chair's weak. There's 2 front chairs. Got one in the bathroom late. Okay. Oh, he's hurt front time. Got me. I smoke him. Backside time, man. I'm trying to go home. What am I going to, honestly? I'm playing the back here. Yeah, we're playing some. I'm gonna play this P2. Going bathroom. Back fan on top of it. Back fan on top of it. I set up in the doors. What's that time? Back fan. I'm playing towards you. I'm playing out. Bathroom ready. Bathroom weak. I'll get your front. Hold your front. Yeah. I have front. I'm gonna back one. Watch your back off your front. I'm gonna go P2.
What's ladder done?
You can go.
For sure he's still in bathroom. He never crossed back.
I'm trying to clear this guy out bathroom.
I'm going back to see.
I'm on the 3rd van right now.
He's sign. Taking the sign. Okay. He's still
bathroom. Weak in bathroom shadow.
Still sign. Backing up PC right now.
Well, this game really has come down to the wire over and over again. No team able to hold a hill for the full 60. Neither team able to get the break solidly as they would want. Right now, it could come down to this, but Boston break in again, Ton.
Last time around, Vegas Legion was so good. When we got over towards Kitchen, it was 40 or 50 points, uncontested. Vivid just walks through Orange, and it's the freest kill of his life with the attack. All of a sudden, the Vegas Legion to start to spawn out. Boston Breach may well take the lead here. They've been behind for so long.
And look at this method, farming the kills out of these noses.
Yo, what's good, everybody?
It's dangerous now for Legion. They did not get this rotation.
Let me move the
locked in
camera for you
early. They
guys.
give away a significant amount of points. Awakening
I'm
Guns
blocking the
looking for a
names and
player
stuff.
instead, trying to figure out here's Clayster. Guns him down, running back to the point here
Again,
as
you
well
guys
now.
can watch
And
this in
even now his teammates are
1440p.
getting the points over
If you guys would
and
like,
over again. Boston held.
in the settings, just go ahead and change it.
Continues to go huge. Slow start, huge
Again,
game. And we can
I'll try my
see
best
the
to
Legion
stream the
faltering.
And the Legion
the CDL League the weekends that I can. So if you guys want to hit that sub, that way you guys can catch it later on. I'll for sure be doing next weekend also. Is there anything I can change? Let me know in the comments or in the chat. If I can improve it, you know what I mean?
The Legion have a reprieve, but it is not a big one. This could get mixy around P1. The Legion cannot afford to give this away even for 7 seconds.
TJ want a gunfight over towards P2 as well, but they have to continue to lock this down. But they also need to think about P2. Vivid up top finds one as there's methods. This could be it.
Vivid being a pain, Vivid being a pain, and it's the pain that may cause this game to end as Nero gets another, and the Legion are not close. The Legion are going to go down, leading all the way through the game to fail at the last hurdle. Boston Breach will take the hard points. And we know we needed one of these teams to find another gear at some point, but it was Boston who held fast and held consistent. The Legion lacking.
And you've got to look at P5 again. First time around Kitchen, Vegas Legion were pretty much cooking the entire time. It was 40-50 seconds. A beautiful hold first time around. Second time around, the complete opposite. And it's just such an easy... Vivid walks through Orange, through mid-map, opens the doors, finds a gunfight in somebody's back. Nobody over towards that side of the map. I don't know what Legion are doing. I'm going to have to rewatch to see their positioning exactly, but... it looked far too easy to break. And also, ultimately, that's what cost them the game, because then all of a sudden you're chasing your tail, you're fighting off the back foot. You had to stop as much time going over towards Boston on P1 because they're 15 away. You can't think about P2, you lose the game. And it was so back and forth throughout. Both two teams finding a rotation, losing the hill within 20-30 seconds. It was kind of the repeat all the way through. The same pattern over and over again. And you just, if you're Legion though, in that moment, especially on the first rotation of hills, of how well you did. I mean, Clayster finds the break. They find, I want to say 40 seconds or so. And it's just going to be such a frustrating way to lose it because you just let it slip just a little bit of lack of concentration of making sure what's being covered. It costs you the game.
You know what? I've got to give full credit to Boston.
100%.
I think when you look at this game objectively from the beginning, every time I think Legion managed to get a rotate, and they were very good at these rotations. You can even say the same for Legion a little bit, but we'll get to that. The breaks were huge. They were splitting hill after hill after hill. Legion were doing the right thing, but just weren't able to get a full 60 to give them enough breathing room. And you are right, it is a collapse at the end there, something that Legion will not be happy with considering with how well they were doing. Also, credit to Big Wake. I said, I think he started off 0-3, maybe 0-4, ended up 25-14. It's an outrageous stat through the rest of the game.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried about him with that start, averaging a 1.29 when it does come down to Embassy hard point, and he very much kept up with that, if not excelled it. A big game for Big Wake. Just staring me down in the camera. That just got me a bit nervous for game number 2. We didn't really see it from the other side of things. We maybe expected maybe a little bit more from Temp. We've seen a good game from Clay. It's going to be a frustrating one to watch back if you are the side of Vegas Legion, but if you're Boston Breach, you're happy with the comeback. The momentum is well and truly in your favor. But heading into a Search and Destroy reset now for Legion. They know they've been so strong on this mode specifically, but that's got to be a disappointment. And you can kind of see it on their faces. They know that one wasn't necessarily free, but it was very much one that was in their hands.
Yeah, a lot of good points to take away from both teams, some really good rotations and really good breaks, and that was probably the issue for both of them. They were never fully comfortable. Even getting into some money hills like P3, you thought, hey, they should be able to lock this down for some amount of time. Nobody really did. Nobody got that opportunity to pull into the lead or to pull the game back. And it has to suck just a little bit for Legion. They were leading the entire way, Ton, until that last hurdle.
It's got to be disappointing. And again, as I said, you kind of tell them the body language. That's one that you have to Maybe we'll just take in your stride of your Vegas Legion. Look, you are there. You are getting close. Last time around, I believe they actually beat Seattle on this map as well. They are contesting good teams on this map. Did they beat them? You know what? I'll have to double check that. I'm pretty sure they did. But nonetheless, they are very much getting there when it does come down to hardpoint. But as said, Search and Destroy really has been so good for them recently. But when it comes down to Mikado, which is going to be map number 2, both teams 0-1 on this specifically. So it's a little bit of a weird one. It's a bit of a toss-up. It is Boston's pick. They must be feeling good on it. And if they're heading into this second map, if they can take a 2-0 lead, they're in complete control of this series. No, they've got at least 2 more respawns before heading to another Search and Destroy to try and close the series out. But it's going to be a tall order. As I said, we don't have too much to read on for both these two teams. Interested to see which way it goes, though. Bryce, I'm excited.
It is. I quickly want to talk about Boston as we go into this S&D as well. I've got a feeling that this team is much better than they've kind of shown us so far.
Oh, definitely.
There was highlights of it maybe week 1 of the CDL. Obviously, Major 1 Awakening was not well, but I just deep inside, this instinct I have says to me that Boston are a top 5 team. And I need to see it. It's the Awakening change. I feel like... I don't know. This is one of the weird things. I can't put my finger on why I think they should be better than they are. I just believe that this team has what it takes to kind of go towards the top. If anything, I would even say going into Major 2, this is a team I expect to place around there.
Yeah, but I would argue that Vegas Legion are on that trend as well towards the middle to top end. That's where they want to kind of make their move. It's a good finish for them in Raleigh. Of course, Boston Breach didn't necessarily get the rub of the green in terms of the way that Awakening was feeling. This is kind of one of those... You love the word benchmarking, Bryce. I feel like it's a good benchmarking one because we can kind of understand where the Boston Breach really are. They didn't look good at all against Optic the other day, whereas Legion have been typically getting better as time has went on. So both these teams are kind of in a collision course around that 6th to 8th mark for me, and it's curious where we are seeing them kind of go from here. Do they continue to get better with your Legion? Do Boston Breach answer the critics and get back to where some people think they should be? Because 11th is not that spot right now.
It certainly isn't, obviously, and bearing in mind Awakening obviously missed out on champs last year. He does not want to be in this position again. Definitely wants to improve moving forward, but we always say there is a lot of points available in qualifiers. Each team will play 5 times over 3 weeks. That's 50 points available. It is critical, it is crucial to make the most of these. There are no easy games. There are no games you can afford to lose. You do not want to be staring down the barrel of having to pull off the miracle run. We know New York did it last year. They had an incredible time getting all the way to the grand final, but they had to get to that grand final. They couldn't afford to come 3rd. They had to come 2nd. And that is a nightmare scenario for most teams, as you cannot rely on it. And yeah, 10 points always up for each one of these games. Boston need it. Thieves would like it. Sorry, Legion would like it. And I think for me, obviously going into Major 2, there is a lot of season left. There is a lot of season left. These two teams really want to bed in and figure this out.
And one thing I kind of want to kind of back you up with here is the fact that online, you've kind of got more of a range, more efficiency, if you like, to try and pick up points. Because when it comes down to the Major, there's not really a huge deal of points to play for. Really, you are winning the majority of your points in these online stages. This is where you need to be picking up games here and there. Even if you're only, winning a couple over your online stage as the qualifier towards a major, that is definitely helping you out in the long run, though, more than maybe a decent placement of one major. I mean, look, I think the absolute pinnacle and prime example of this is LAG last year. They won a major and still were terrible on the points front. So you need to make sure you are consistent throughout the whole entire side of things, throughout the whole season, if you do want to make that run towards champs. And I think that's got to be such a big goal for this Vegas Legion side, considering the history, considering what some of these players' careers are kind of at the stage that they're at this moment in time. It's kind of last chance saloon for most of, if not all of these guys. They've got to perform this year. They have to.
Yeah, we'll find out, though. We will find out. And I think, if anything, there has been some very positive feelings about it. Here's the weird thing. When you talk about the lower teams in this league, people don't usually start with Boston or Vegas. No, they really don't. It used to be LAG. Obviously, LAG are currently on the ascendance. Their new challenger players have made a bit of a splash coming into the league. And We're looking forward to see how that plays out. London with another team change we will see later today is going to basically be the the testing ground for them as well. Desperately need a win in this league. We are just going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, we will have map 2 here on the Call of Duty League. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you right after this.
Flames of power burn inside of me, heating past 1,000,000 degrees. They say I should follow to be free, but I don't aim to follow, I'm the lead. I am not the one you want to start this with, cause when I do that would be nothing that can pardon this. I set the flames to your building like an arsonist, and if I woke up until I had no part in it. And you can get down and lay down, even calling you evil, leave with nothing to say now. Say you wanted to smooth, so I promise I'm not gonna play around. It ain't gonna be fun when I swing, this ain't no playground. No, this ain't no playground. This is fun. Oh, you said you wanted to win, well, this the right fight. Pray for when the darkness comes, turn on your nightlight. Oh, you should've brought you a gun, cause we don't like knives. Since the power went to my head, haven't been quite right. Flames are burning, things are churning, knees are bending, ankles burning. I'm the teacher, you should learn it. I'm the judge, and here's your verdict. This is hell, and you deserve it. I'm really charged up, I'm really charged up. Keeping my guard up, you cannot stop us. I'm really charged up, I'm really charged up. I'm really charged up, I'm really charged up. Man, I cannot pretend the road is not tough. They trying to slow me down, they ain't people to be bumped. Constant on my mind, the ones I do love, they counting on me now. Too late, they give up. Lace my shoes up, I'm tired though, you should know. My race can't be rushed, my rivals, they will fold. When they see me come out, I bet that they gon' start running. I'm a stone to a giant, I ain't afraid of nothing. Grit in my left hand, vengeance in my right. Go straight up, I ain't wasting.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. We are live and we are in game. We are not holding anything back. We've gone straight in. It's Boston Breach versus Vegas Legion. We're on the S&D, and already you can see the Legion have made hot feet over towards B.
Las Vegas Legion have been looking good in Search and Destroy, but a 0-2 record on this map specifically. Haven't seen it from the side of Boston. That bomb is going to go down over towards B. It's a big rush coming in from the side of Legion, looking for Breach, and Vivid specifically the one to answer.
Oh my goodness, he disappeared, but they've lost numbers here. 3 versus 3. TJ will throw the shoulder, but he gets stunned. They're going to know he's here as well. It's back-to-back for the Legion. And they are outnumbered, but will they be outgunned? TJ gets one and back to a 2 versus 2. Vivid is going to look for this one, and it's going to be taken down, but not quite quick enough. Oh my goodness, he gets it! And Methodist now has to go for the defuse. Prolute goes huge. Will he recheck this in time? Pros always still from the shoulders. He did it in time. I don't know. Oh, got it. Get it in the tiniest of margins. Production, if you're hearing me, cue up that as a replay for the end of this S&D. So much happened in seconds. Oh, and this is it. Prolute throws the shoulder and comes out with milliseconds to spare. TTK Levaznev, just everything he needed. Clutch kills from Prolute twice off the bomb. And Boston Breach must be furious.
Oh. Well, if you needed a round to regain on, if you're the Vegas Legion, that's one of them. You just about get a hold of it. Now the Boston Breach heading on over towards A. Do apologize, actually. Both teams are 0-1 on this. I was looking at the control stats, Pricey, here to tell you, but either way, still not a win to be had from either two of these teams when it does come down to Mikado Search and Destroy. But that was a crazy, crazy first round. Bomb down and absolute chaos from then.
And it's all gone a little bit quiet here. Vivid and TJ. Close. You see Prolute first though, and Vivid's going to get away with it. No, he isn't. TJ goes for the trade. It's a 2 versus 3. Boston have the position, but can they get this bomb down? It looks like they might be leaving here. Awakening, going to check the back. I think Boston are going to try and play this slow.
Awakening happy to have this fight against Temp. Clayster though, the one with the aggression, the one with the Vazner making the push forward. Now it's Methods. Left alone once again. If he can get behind this bomb site, the second kill would have been huge, but he can't find it. TJ to clean up, and a very passive round from Legion, and kind of just allowing Boston Breach to go for that plant. It's a setup from the outside. They close that gap very, very quickly, though, and find themselves 2-0 up.
It never looks particularly clean. But 2-0 up at the moment. And we know last time these two teams played, it was all about Legion in the S&D ton. It wasn't particularly close.
No, it wasn't. And for the most part, Vegas Legion have looked great in Search and Destroy, as mentioned, against multiple teams. And one thing that we were querying on before this map started was whether or not we'd see much of a sniper coming up from the side of Vegas Legion. Well, they haven't needed them because they're just running through Boston Breach over towards B. 2 times in a row, they've now headed over towards this site. We'll touch on the sniper stats in just a little second, though, because Vegas Legion have complete control of B right now.
Awakening, that brings us back to a 3 versus 3. Nero looking to be the hero. Just being patient, though. Not going to oversell his life. And we can see this. They obviously can't. Even with it this close. Oh, maybe a little bit of auto aim. We don't know. Nero hasn't, though. And, oh, he must get a gun barrel sticking through the door there. Oh, he's trapped out. Prolute smashes the door open and completely eliminates him. Nero, but a shock and awe as Clayster. Guns Awakening as well. Vivid for the 1 versus 3.
Vivid really has been that guy for Boston Breach when it has come down to this map. Small sample size, but putting up nearly a 2 KD, and well, that's not going to help it with that gunfight challenge. Temp, nice and easy for him. Vegas Legion had so much success over towards B. Of course, A is typically the more progressive one that a lot of players will head towards. Yeah, Prolute, what are you getting here? I wonder if it's maybe just a little bit of auto aim, or did he hear him changing weapons? I'm not too sure, but whatever. Wizardry Prolute manages to pull off there. Gets the kill for his team, opens up that side just that little bit more, but that B hit is going to have to be something that Boston Breach answer to keep an eye on Vegas Legion's next attacking round to see if they do switch things up. Maybe they little fake over towards it is something that could be on the cards. But Boston Breach need an answer soon. 3-0 down.
To hear from both teams. Legion are here in force, but so are Boston. Looking for this already. Vivid going to get there. Still out as well, but TJ will get the first blood. A little bit of a bad position for him, though. Wants to back off. No, he doesn't. TJ wants to go forward and will go down to Nero. Like I said, not the greatest position for him. Didn't really have anywhere he could go.
Yeah, it was kind of like, do you stick a twist? Do you show your back to them, try and get away? Or do you just kind of go for it, see if you can find a second? You already found first blood, but Boston Breach are able to even the odds. Good shots from Temp. I think the team shot was there as well to help him out, but it will be traded. Clayster now getting aggressive again. 3 and 2 from Clay. And Methods, once again, left in a 1 versus 2.
Well, they're inside with him. They're inside. I think he heard him now, and Method's going to find the first, but he's going to be taken down. I believe it's Clayster. And wins the 1v1 technical because he didn't really get a chance to reset after that kill. But there he is. Clayster sees him and kills him before he can do anything more. 4 and 2 for him and another round for Vegas Legion.
And last time out, for the side of both these two teams, there was 0 conversion pretty much from first bloods. 33% for Boston, 25% for Vegas. But I think Vegas Legion are 100% right now. Every single time they found the first... I mean, they found every round, so of course they are. If they found the first blood, they've won the round. 100% conversion. Much better, Pricey, much better. It's quite hard, Matt. And there's another one. Clayster's frying. Oh, my word.
Man's 105, Gunny 18. I've known him a long time. It's okay to say that. He's anyway, he's looking for this one. Not going to win it. Methods will eventually get it. 2 versus 2 it comes down to.
And the first beacon of light for the Boston Breach here. But they've got to retake this site. And Temp and Pro would be expecting Methods and Awakening to both be hitting back alley. If you are Methods and Awakening, you just beg that Temp doesn't check this because it's a horrible one to push, but it sounds like Prolute has managed to hear something. There's Methods. Is Awakening going to be the next on the chopping block? Surely he dies. Surely he's over. Oh my god, flying him. 5-0. Vegas Legion running away with this one. The last 11 games of Search and Destroy, they've won 10, and we are seeing a prime example as to why. The pace, the control, and the gunny.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, and this is the funny thing. Depending on how this goes, Legion have won 10 out of their 11 last S&Ds. It's 6 in a row so far. And the last time Boston played... Vegas at S&D, they won 1 round out of 13. At the moment, that has obviously gotten much, much worse. It's a 5-0 here. Is this all done and dusted? Prolute gets the first blood already. More flying in though. Nero going to get another one. It's going to be a second for them. Temp trying to get the trade, but can't actually get it, and he won't get away with his life. Boston Breach in a good position. Clayster looking for the 1 versus 3. Probably a step too far.
I wouldn't put it past him the way that Vegas Legion have been playing here. Yeah, he's going to get caught by Vivid though, isn't he? No way he checks that. Yeah, nice round from the Boston Breach. Although, I think Temple probably feel a little bit aggrieved that he didn't find a kill, get himself out, and all of a sudden make it a 2 versus 2 rather than a 1 versus 3 for Clayster to try and compete. Or complete, I should say. Vivid, 3 and 5 from him. I think he may well only be the one of the players from the side of Breach to be able to do anything at this moment in time. It's not really been looking good for them at all. But is that possibly the start of what would be a phenomenal comeback? Don't see it very often, but the full sale has to start somewhere.
Wow. Even just saying the word full sale gives me a little bit of nerves. Could be anything, but realistically, Ton.
Look at this.
Legion look a cut above on the S&D.
Look how Boston Breach...
That's a problem for Boston.
Sorry to interrupt. So look how Boston Breach have to answer to these B hits. All of a sudden, you have to send 2 people over there because it's been so effective for Vegas Legion. And now the bomb's down to there. 4v4 retake.
Awakening does get away with his life. What did Boston Breach have for this retake? TJ already going to get the first blood. TJ gets a second on the Vivid as well. And now it's a 2 versus 4. We can see Methods taking the long route. He's going to get gunned. Surely there's Clayster here already. He's going to find the first, and he does. He's going to go for the chow. Clay, you madman. Doesn't matter. Methods left alone, outnumbered, outpositioned, outgunned, and down go Boston. The record here for Legion is absurd, especially against Boston. The last 3 S&Ds they have played versus this team have been 6-1, 6-0, and 6-1. 20 rounds played, Boston have won 2.
It's not good start line, really, is it? But the side of Boston Breach, at least, it's a great one if you're a Vegas Legion player, though. That was over very quickly. I think our break lasted longer than that game. And I want to say, it just felt, I don't want to say that they were in their heads, but as soon as Vegas Legion, typically, I mean, I don't have the exact stat line, but I would say it's like, what, 75 or maybe 65% of the time we are seeing teams head over towards A. For the most part, it is where we end up going. It's an instant B hit 4-man, and they do it again in their next attacking round. And all of a sudden, if you're Boston Breach, you're like, God, well, we're probably going to have to keep an eye on that one. And then that just allows them to have a little bit more control over towards A if you're Vegas Legion. Love the strats. Fantastic work. And, well, okay, the execution was brilliant as well from the Vegas Legion. Very well played. The series is tied up now, Bryce, and it's looking like a tasty one for the rest of it.
It certainly is. Let's find out how the rest of this plays out. But first, we're going to go to a break. Don't go anywhere. More Call of Duty League available just after this.
Upgrade your game with a Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. We have Vegas Legion going up against Boston Breach. At the moment, it's all tied up 1-1, a close hard point, and then a not close S&D. Control, we will see one of these two teams going to lead. Ton, how are we feeling?
We're feeling like these two teams are not that great at control, so this could be entertaining. 3-8 record for Vegas, at 3-5-1 for Boston. And one of those, as you pointed out at the beginning of the series, whilst we were off air, one of those wins for Vegas was actually against Boston. So, both teams in very much a mid-off when it does come down to control. But as mentioned in the S&D, when I got the stats wrong, this is the first time we have seen LSU control for Boston. 0-2 for Vegas, as is their bad control record. This one could very much go either way.
Well, let's see. In the moment, 10 Prolute already get it. Oh my goodness.
Oh.
There's the kill feed full. And Vivid last alive while his team respawns and retries.
And one of them survived. It's Vivid. And if you want anybody in mid-map to try and cause some disruption for the Boston Breach, it could be him. But really nice break off for the Legion. You love to see it if you're a Vegas Legion fan. Search and Destroy was clean, as was that break. Boston Breach, though, heading over towards B. Big fight.
It's a big kill for TJ because it's going to cause the rest of them to now have to turn around. TJ doesn't even chow the window. He knows they're going to be looking.
Oh, so smart.
TJ with another big gun. Looks for Vivid, who is flying off into the background, still trying to stay alive. The tick is slowly progressing as Vivid does stay alive towards the back, but it does seem like it's Legion in control.
Yeah, Boston Breach, they want to switch a route. Plenty of control over towards B and then making their way over towards A. Want to extend that time as soon as possible. Temp alive and kicking up top if he tells us. He knows he's going to be shot at though from somebody like Awakening, and that's not somebody you want to try and gun. Well, let's take it. Boston Breach slowly but surely taking control of A here. It should be going over towards them. Bryce, that clock should be extended.
Yeah, it was never that big of a hit for Legion. They decided to maybe just cut their losses. They've lost a few of these gunfights as well, so their lives aren't that big of a lead. You see here Boston now figuring out if they can make it over. That's a huge kill by Awakening. Can they get back into it? No. Clay shuts him down before he can. It is going to be dangerous though. Legion are respawning far away. Methods looking for Clayster up top. A crucial gunfight they had to stay alive for as Methods eventually goes down. Boston have not jumped on this yet.
TJ just chilling in bar at the moment. Waiting for the rest of his team to maybe find something for an on-surge of Boston Breach players over towards the B side. The Vegas Legion, though, not able to quite do that. TJ gets taken down in bar. All of a sudden, it's all from the front. Vegas Legion. Gonna have to pull the rabbit out of the hat here. Oh, just get Temp.
Huge from Temp. He played that very, very slow. Eventually picks up the kill. Boston still looking to apply the pressure. One of those is going to be Methods as he tries to stay alive here and give his team an opportunity to push forward, and Awakening finds one as well. The Legion playing this very, very tight. They have not managed to extend. They aren't downfield. They aren't through the mid, but they are still winning the gunfights.
Oh, they are winning the gunfights, but on the back foot. Vegas Legion are the ones who find the kill. 4 from Temp. Swipe out the Boston Breach, so a little bit more breathing room for the side of Vegas Legion. The tension was there. Good shots from Awakening. 2 HP and surviving. And now Temp has to turn around. That will maybe allow the rest of Boston Breach to force their way over towards field, but TJ is ready there and waiting. 5 spree now for Temp. Can he keep it up? He needs to. Look at them out.
It's dangerous. Boston basically have to win every single gunfight, but they aren't winning them. Methods wins 1, but there's no one really near the point. Awakening would have to get a jetpack here to get there in time. He's not going to. And it is a good round for Legion. Maybe a few gaps, maybe a few weaknesses, but nothing that Boston could really exploit. 15-7 on the lives. Just 3 ticks for Boston in the end.
Temp does go huge there. The final kill, wrapping up what I believe was a 6 spree to close out the round for the Vegas Legion. Good start. Managing to control that side of the map. They've got players, mostly TJ, forcing a route through mid-map or over towards the A side of the map. Whilst that one's already down, you find a free route through, and all of a sudden you're behind them, causing issue. Even 1 kill is something that can disrupt a complete attack from the Boston Breach. What's their turn to defend? Temp, can he continue this break?
See, they've gone for inside control. They're going to be playing Amazing spoiler as well, though. You can see it, and Tem can't even get the bullet down before Nero takes him down. And TJ, last one alive in this point, and down he goes. Glacier goes for his trades. Not going to manage it either. A full respawn for Legion. They're going to try and get as much map control as possible before they get pinned in.
Dangerous spot. You gotta work your way out slowly. You cannot rush these kind of situations. Prolip will be the one to find the kill first. Methods trades it though. Still, if you're Legion, yeah, in a really tough spot. But Prolip again, he has really been standout, but only on occasion. But when he does pop off, Prolip looks like such a dangerous player. But right now, the Vegas Legion look very, very dead. Cliss, they should be dead to rights any minute now, but they've just been forced to win. No purchase whatsoever on anywhere apart from their spawn.
Yeah, they're really struggling to get out here. Boston Breach doing an even better job than Legion did, as Prolute somehow wins that gunfight against Vivid with a drop shot. Nero, though, comes back in for the trade. And they can't get anywhere. The problem with A is that Methods is sitting up top and gunning anything who comes near him. He has a trophy. He has the position. It might have to be a B hit for them, but already Awakening taking them down. Time is ticking. Legion are looking for anything they can get.
3 ticks last round for the side of Boston Breach. That's going to help them out. When it does come down to it, you'd rather have defense, and this has been, without being too harsh on the base Legion, pretty pathetic. I mean, they've had absolutely no map control. Is there maybe one more stab at it over towards A? Prulip will just about get his hair cut inside the point before it is promptly taken up by one of the Boston Breach players, Awakening in a little bit of danger here. Nice nade to deflect. Vegas Legion have one tiny, small little chance yet.
Boston are going to go for this as well. They know it's 1.4 seconds. They just have to win one set of gunfights, and it will all be over for them, and they're winning multiple as Vivid finds 2 on the flank. Prolu is under fire. He's alive, and he's down, and it's done. Boston Breach take the defense, and it's easy.
As I kind of said, it was pretty pathetic. I mean, they got forced into their spawn. Didn't really do a great deal from that. Barely touched the point. Really good from the Boston Breach, though, as soon as they were set up. Not allowing anything to happen for the Vegas Legion whatsoever. So that's a win. Take those first 2 rounds. Boston Breach are leading on the tick front. And we'll have defense in that final round if we do indeed need it. Although we do know Brycey quite often it can go 2 defensive wins and then 1 attacking round in the final one. Who's got the ice? If we get there, of course.
Long way to go. Boston will not want to make it even close if they can help it. Already the attack going through. Vivid manages to hit that as well, and he's looking for him. Picked wrong, but eventually picked right, but still can't get him. It's been the longest gunfight in the world, but Vivid will get it on a 5 streak as well. Want some help before they get into this one. You can already see players swinging position for this A hit.
Oh, good shots, really good shots. There's the rest of his team here to back him up. But with a purchase here for the side of Boston Breach. But TJ, once again, the thorn in the side, always behind. Good shots from Big Wake. Not able to finish his dinner. Vegas Legion now. Tried to kind of, as you can see, they take a lot of field control if they can. They're quite happy for Boston Breach to spawn over towards this side. Just kind of have to hold the L of those first 2 rounds. There's nothing they can do about that now. But they're keeping them on for now, but air control now going over towards the side of Boston Breach. They should be able to get it, specifically with those 3 kills coming in. Legion off spawn over towards B.
Yeah, Legion won't go for this retake already because it's just not going to be viable for them. Down in lives, tick away. That's 6 now for Boston, 0 for Legion. Legion can get a small bit of silver lining. Just hold this defense.
Rotation around. Legion. And go. Cliss has just been wiped off the face of the earth. Fantastic centering shots from Awakening. And all of a sudden it's broken wide open. Temp's in a good position, but the rest of Legion are all at sea right now.
There's just not much they can do at the moment. Not a big stack coming in from them. They know a player's going to be behind them. Temp has to be crucial. Here comes the cruise missile they're waiting for. The rest of the Legion need to be in a position to capitalize on this one. Methods will be taken out by it. That first tick is in a B. Still a good position for Breach.
Still have control. Temp's still behind them. His influence already could do with influencing just that little bit more. He's been taken down, so there you go. Dot your I's, cross your T's. If you're Boston Breach, you've cleared them out. You now just need to push from the front. There's the kills in. It's only 1 member of Legion that's really in much of a position to do anything about this, Bryce.
Well, that second tick roaring through the rest of Boston Breach moving forward. Vivid trying to do something. Prologue managed to get a kill. Methods is still alive on the point here, and it's going to be done. And does Falling get it? Nero gets two.
Got a chart.
One. Methods onto the point. Clay is just firing. Methods guns him out of oblivion, and Boston Breach win their attack. 9 ticks to the good. Legion need an attacking round to stay in this control.
The control woes continue. And honestly, I was getting arguably a little bit frustrated with Breach there, that they had so much control. They know where Legion are going to be spawning, and they still went stacking it. And I was kind of like, you just win. But they just choose to go this sensible route. They push up players into tin. They've got someone up top window as well to watch the crossover to tin and over towards the back site. And all of a sudden, you just slowly and steadily take that one home. Boston Breach 2-1 to the good. And after what we've seen from Vegas Legion on this previous attack, this one might be done and dusted.
Can they find anything new here? The first 2 kills does go down for the Legion. Nero will play spoiler. In a very dangerous position, and he is going to catch one as well. Temp hasn't turned. Temp's going to go down. And Clayster will eventually get that trade, but that is a lot of lost ground.
It is, but it was quite crucial for Clayster to find that kill. If Prolu gets back around, sorry, if Nero gets back around the corner, all of a sudden Prolu and TJ have no backup. TJ, though, still alive and kicking. We'll get Nero off the respawn. Vivid, though, will quite happily take Prolu here. On the side of Vegas Legion, you can see the players are waiting around the site. They're kind of just waiting for TJ to do something for them. And there you go.
And nade barrage has managed to get them in, but another Chow. They've lost another player. Only 1 tick here onto A. Looking for eventually, and Tam gets gunned by Nero. Just nothing going the way of Legion. Nothing they need. Nothing they can get. Boston are shutting them down every time they poke their heads above the parapet. And they need a miracle.
The timing, unfortunate for TJ. But you're all right. They really do need a miracle. Vegas Legion. Yeah, okay, we know both these two teams have suffered in control. But on attacking front, this is being, well, up to now, pretty woeful showing from the side of Legion, but they are going to be able to get a little bit of control over towards the A side. Yeah, that would be a big kill. Probably cannot find it. And all of a sudden, you have to worry about Methods from behind. You have to worry about Vivid at the front. Clayster will find one. He's the only one that finds anything. There's 10 seconds after this control. It's looking like Boston's.
Probably gonna have to go for a hero play. That's a scary thing. Takes a nade in the teeth. 19 health. Down he goes to Vivid. The rest of the Legion just not here. Just not close enough. And it's going to be done. It's dusted. It's clinical for Boston Breach. They fire back 3-1 here on the control. Very much one-sided. And you can see it on the faces of Legion. It was not a good time.
Temp's laughing. Nothing going the way for Vegas Legion in that one. Boston Breach leagues ahead. Much better game out of them. They threatened more on their own attacks. Their defenses were clean. And that was as arguably as one-sided as the Search and Destroy was. Boston never really looked like losing that map. Really good performances out of absolutely everybody. Nero causing havoc in the mid-map. Methods locking down. Satellite, Vivid, and Awakening just doing their own thing. Awakening, a real catalyst for that attacking round win. To the side of Boston Breach with the gunny on Clay towards the back. Kind of set it all up. Nicely done for Boston. They'd be very happy to put some of the ghosts of control behind them because things hadn't been looking that good recently. Just trading wins, losses. 3-5 record was not something to be proud of, has to be said, but 4-5, not looking too bad now. 2-1 up in this series, and deservedly so.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, we talked about Neslowing. Legion did it last time, but it's not possible if you don't have the control. So we'll see what they can figure out with this one. It's a huge win for Boston. Tan, give me your honest opinion here. Do you think this ends in the hard point?
I mean, looking towards it, both teams are. Well, we're going to be going over the Hydra. Sorry, for anybody who's unaware. And both these two teams are the most well practiced on this map in a competitive setting. It's a really hard one to call, honestly. I've seen some good gameplay from Legion on this map. I don't know. My pick'ems are 3-2. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of had Boston Breach winning the control. One of the hard points going over towards Legion and the two S&Ds. So I'm gonna say yes. We're going for a game 5. I'm up for it.
Okay. Took you a while to get there. We got there. We did get there.
Well, I didn't want to say yes.
Had to do a little bit of calculation to figure that one out, Ton. But no, I agree with you. The problem is, obviously, for Boston, you do not want to go to map 5. You absolutely 100% do not want to go to map 5. It is not looking good for you. You need to end this series right here and now. S&D against Legion is basically the worst case scenario. So pressure's on for both teams. Legion have to get this, obviously, to continue the series. Boston don't even want to go to a map number 5, regardless of what map it is. Their record is abysmal.
I feel like pressure's on me. Bryce, yeah, I got a perfect record in pick'ems yesterday. I don't know if I mentioned this. I want to kind of continue it. I did have it down for a 3-2 Vegas Legion here. And I had the map that I thought would be a really close one. I had them winning map number 1, though. That's kind of the scary thought for me specifically. And scary thought for the side of Vegas Legion. It's really hard, though, because I think looking at this map specifically, as mentioned, both two teams have got so much practice on it. When it comes down to it, though, it looks like Vegas are the team who are going to be heavy on the rotation, but haven't looked great on the holds, whereas Boston, not good on the rotations, but the holds are being good. So it's a difficult one to kind of ascertain. For Boston Breach, you need to tighten those up, and you should be decent. But Las Vegas Legion also need to do exactly the same thing. So both two teams having the same deficiencies, if you like, should make for a very entertaining map.
Let's see. By the way, TJ probably for the first time has got his camera on. Kind of missed the static TJ picture that we've been looking for so long. I forgot what it looked like in real life.
Not like the picture.
Well, I suppose again, bringing us back to the start of the series, one of the things we did say, and we have consistently said, this is a benchmarking game for these two teams. For Legion, it's another string to the bow that says this is a real force to be reckoned with going into Major 2. For Boston, it's about proving that they deserve to be ranked higher than they are. Proving that they can take on anybody. And Legion is a hurdle for them. A hard point win here, obviously, cements them 3-1. But there's the record, Ton. It is going to be tight.
A really tight one. And just an overarching kind of stat for you guys at home before we do head into this one. Nothing to do with the map specifically. But Boston versus Vegas is now the only matchup in the CDL that features 2 pros from the pre-Black Ops 2 era. And that is Methods and Clayster. Just to make you all feel old. Me included, by the way. Very old. Now very sad that that stat exists. Scump's retirement. 2 of the old heads very much going toe-to-toe here in this series. Does it end here, or do we get the map number 5 that we thoroughly do deserve? Boston Breach do not want to see it. Vegas Legion fighting for their lives.
Well, here we go. On to P1 between both of these two teams, and we're going to say, can the Legion find a hard point? They've done it last time they have played this Boston Breach team. If ever they've needed one, they really need it now. The other big thing they've got to keep an eye on, of course, P2. They're not great at holding this P1 and P2, Tom.
Yeah, P1 and P2 has been really the lose condition, if you like, for the side of Vegas Legion. On average, they are net minus 40 on each of P1 and P2, so they are struggling massively on these 2 hills specifically, and yet their record still, when it does come down to Hydro, is not the absolute worst, sitting at 2-2. So if they can fix up on P1 and P2, they're not looking too bad, but outside of that, they have been performing well. P2 now coming up. They're 25 to 26 to nearly 30 down already. That old form is currently repeating itself, especially with Nero winning that gunfight.
Well, sometimes stats tell the story we are going to see in advance. Boston Breach onto P2. Vivid will try and be the bottleneck as he just guns Clayster down. Temp is trying to dodge him here. Has a little bit of reinforcements, though. Those seconds are ticking away. Legion looking to just shut the door, and they've done it. Nero, the only player left here for Boston Breach to do anything, gunned by TJ, and eventually Legion can get a point on the board.
Whilst you were casting away there, Brycey, and Boston Breach were extending to a 41-0 lead. I was looking at Vegas Legion's break percentage when it comes down to P2. It was 0%. It's now no longer 0%. They find a lovely break. It's a clean 4 and should be a good chunk of time. Now we're thinking about P3 rotation. Vivid will just try and slow that down and does a beautiful job of doing so. Poorly placed, they're dead to the Wolves completely. This Temp now will find a kill. The extension comes in over towards P3. It's only Arrow who's actually left. The spawns for Boston Breach are being manipulated wonderfully by Legion, and they have control of P3.
And Nero sitting right at the back, but they've caught it as well. You can see them push out both sides at the moment. Legion are setting up for that back push they're expecting. TJ is a mile away, all the way at Dome. It's a bit of a split spawn for Boston Breach. They're still spawning P2. They can't get the back because it is blocked by Proloot, who says hello to Awakening, who took his time and pays the price. But the back spawn's now just come in. The back spawn's here. Legion, are they going to identify?
They know now. They know now. And the spawn out comes in from Temp, and they will be calling out a spawn out, because they've spawned towards the back. Not enough control. You need to make sure you lock it down. Spawn's a little bit funky, has to be said, but Callisto now here as well. It's all over the shop, Bryce. You haven't got a clue what's going on. Well, I think at the moment Legion actually pushed that out to try and get that back spawn, but when you do that, normally you want one person looking at it, so you know exactly when it's come up. But they are right. It's all over the map, but it will be Legion with a player deep. Proloot is all the way back, ready for this rotation. I'm just looking at the spawns over towards P3. My brain hurts. Methods now set up in the mid-map. Ultimately, it will be the Vegas Legion that benefit from whatever the hell was going on there. Boston Breach now making their way through mid-map. And coming in. Oh, the trophy system. Just 13-3. Having a fantastic game. You think the team may be a little bit further ahead than they might be if they can hold this. Proloot waiting for the player to appear. They're just the other side. And Veggies get taken down as Methods goes over the top. Clace is going to find him, though. Has to back off. Awakening's got him super weak. Awakening goes for the Chow. Gets that one as well. TJ's going to be here looking for Awakening, who ducks down as reinforcements flood through for Boston, who will now take this. The rotation is in again. Legion are here first. But will they be the victors? Keep an eye on Nero. TJ find the kill there as well. It's a split here. Now for Vegas Legion need to find the kills as Boston Breach seem to just be huddled up a little bit better at this moment in time. Splits all over the place. Both two teams not controlling the spawn as efficiently as they would like as Nero comes through with the challenge. Proloot and Co now spawning towards the back. Boston at the front. Vegas Legion shooting at each other. TJ feeling the pressure. Adrenaline dumping in the system. He's got a little bit of a twitchy finger, and he is going to eventually be taken down before he can do any more damage. Both teams really slugging it out on this hard point. Neither really able to break the deadlock, as eventually it will be Boston Breach who get more time here. But as the trades continue to come in, Legion just can't get anything going. Neither team really could get anything going here. It has been absolute chaos. For all that we've seen the subliners yesterday look so clinical on this map. They controlled the spawn so well. They knew when to rotate. They knew when to pin the opposition in. We've not seen any of that so far from either one of these two teams. It's been a little bit crazy. And after a rotation of hills, it is going to be about a 30-point lead for the side of Boston Breach. So fast and frantic. Very chaotic. Oh, that was his own name. Yep, and that's not one to run into because Temple cleaned that up as well. Looking for those rotations over towards P2. It's still Boston Breach spawning. A good time for Legion, though, at P1. Yes, they're doing a bad job of holding here at the moment, but Awakening, looking for that player up top Dome. They're going to know he's all the way back here, which means Legion will have to split their fire. You can already see on the minimap, they're trying to kind of get around back towards the back of P2, leaving players alone on P1. Boston will have the numbers here to push this out if they can, as Awakening goes further and further back. I was about to say, I wonder if Methods and Vivid are just kind of chilling, don't want to show their face. So that Vegas Legion don't know exactly that somebody is in over towards the back. Proloot will find two, though. That's a more good time. That may well, I want to say, be a full 60 from Vegas Legion over towards P1. It has notoriously been a real bugbear for them, but they get a lot of time. However, P2 has also really, really bad for them. Can Boston Breach punish them just as equally here? Oh, look at this. They've got the kills, they've got the positioning. Keep an eye ready for the spawns. It's still going to be Boston at the back. It has not been enough for Legion to break. That's 4 for Clay. He is picking them off one at a time, but it's different between just keeping their heads down and actually breaking it. Tem gets another kill. They are flooding forward here as well. Nero actually has to back off. Vivid picks up 2. Clayster gets another one, eventually taken down by Methods. And all the kill streaks and all the gunning in the world is not going to help if you cannot break that P2. Legion have not been good at it famously. First time of breaking it was actually earlier this game. Swimmy Zinny. Now on the go down the outside. Uh-oh. Manages to take down TJ. Get himself into a position as this rotation over towards P3 starts to come through. Those last two hills, full 60s for both teams by the looks of things. Oh, nearly about the majority of the time going over towards the team that were the first ones there. Probably Clister cleaning up those, spawn towards the back. Legion just don't have this control. He does have it, but you need to have somebody further towards the back. Or are they happy for Boston to spawn there? I don't know. It didn't necessarily work in a ways at the time. Still going over towards Legion.
Well, we'll see. At the moment, they're still spawning the back, so wait for about 20 seconds and you'll see that spawn come in. At the moment, Clayster's having fun. We've talked about him with the Vasnev, but still gunning. That's another 4 streak for him. Looking for more players. He's going to see Awakening up top. There's a double chow coming through. Eventually, Boston get the teamwork in place. Legion retake the lead here as well, but the kills are going against them. You should now see Legion try to push this out if they can.
They're trying to. Nero and Co trying to prevent that, and look at this pressure coming in from Vivid as well. He wants his team still spawning out, but they start spawning towards the back of your Legion. Get your running shoes on. What a shot from Temp. That's 6 in a row from him. He's 23 and 11. That one slipped under the radar for me. As the pressure now starting to come through, it's momentarily going to be a 3 versus 2. Heading in over towards the site. Make that a 2 versus 1 now down this side. Methods staying alive, and so crucially as Nero spawns up within the backup is that.
TJ making a splash, and then we'll make an even bigger one as he heads towards the hill. Methods now has to turn. Methods gets guns as well. Vivid's going to be down low, but the trophy's going to deflect the stun, and Vivid and Nero! It's a big gunfight. It's a break here by the Legion as Temp tries to stem the tide of Boston Breaches. Methods gets 2. More players flooding through, Ton.
And for all the last 3 hills before we got here, it's been pretty much full 60s for the team that got there first. This one's a little bit more scrappy. TJ towards the back, he gets taken down. It's pretty much equal numbers momentarily, but Vegas Legion's still spawning here, but for only 15 more seconds. If you're Boston Brits, do you try and pin them in? You don't want to give those back spawns up as best as you can, because when this starts to flip, keep an eye on where Legion are spawning. It's looking like still towards the back. Vivid's done his job. Time may well be over towards Legion, but rotation fully in the hands of Boston Breach. Look at the spawn from Legion.
TJ's going to know as well. He knows where he's going to be spawning. He finds the first, Prolink finds the second. It's sweat pouring off the brow of Methods. He knows he's outnumbered. He finds the first one. That one that Clay.
There's the pinch.
Players swarm in. They are going to get in there. Legion have broken this one more time. Players still going to be hit from his Awakening fights too towards the back. TJ's looking for the player as Nero gets another one. What was good for Legion is now horrible.
They've been spawned out. Now they're spawning towards the back. Now the team really controlling the spawns, and you know what? It's been absolutely brilliant. TJ now pushing through. We may not know where we're spawning, but we know we got the Gunny, Vivids, Methods, all trading back and forth. It's such a tight game, but the Gunny from Clayster, he hasn't slowed down. There's a 3 in a row. Temps going off as well. Legion are 30 away from sending us to a map number 5.
It's so much like the last time we saw it. But can Legion hold this time? The P1 spawns come in all the way out. It's a bit of a chaos spawn for them. They've split it. And now Boston looking for this one. Nero. TJ. Temps calling in the cruise missile as all of Legion fall. They've all gone down. He's trying to find
big kill
towards the back. And Legion are spawned both sides. It's a pinch.
Can they set themselves up here? A moment of respite for both 2 teams as Vegas Legion start to think, how can we break this? Well, we all have died, so we can't. There's 3 down. It's only Temp for the moment. 30 points away now for the Boston Breach. The Gunny was not quite there. Nero will win it. TJ slipped in that though. Oh, he can't find it
before he gets Awakening. And they can win it here. It has
got to push.
Challenge. It has to be Legion to get through. They've lost the tick for it. Neither team can now win on P1.
Nero.
Nero gets 3. It's a 9 streak for Nero. That could be the final nail in the coffin. They've got P1 time. They are only going to need seconds on P2. One of the most unbreakable hill. As Nero calls in a cruise missile, it might as well be a nail in the coffin for Legion as they fall apart again at the end of the hard point. A 3-1 for Boston and vindication from Major 1.
What a game. That was wild. Vegas Legion just really started to turn up in that second rotation. They kept it close after the first. But we get to the third and it is again the same old story. Cannot finish their dinner. 3-1 Boston Breach. That was absolutely mental. Nero dropping a 9 spree on that. It was a 10 spree towards the end on the heads. He was 15 and 22. Ended the game 25 and 22. Vegas Legion's woes on P1 and P2 come back to haunt them at the worst possible time.
It's the same as the first hard point. Legion look ready. They are ahead. It goes to P1. They even get splits over and over again. They get their spawn out towards P3. They've got players dome. They've got players P4. You think maybe they can squeeze. Nothing goes their way. Nero goes huge.
That was a hell of a game. Honestly, just ridiculously chaotic. Neither one of these two teams really seemed to have a lock on the spawns, which, as said, when we were going into it, we knew both these two teams well practiced. We knew they were both all about the same kind of gameplay, trying to win it the same way. Spawns, as said, were not controlled by either one of these two teams, but it made it very entertaining. Big win for the Boston Breach there.
Yeah, huge win in the end. And we're going to hand it over to our desk to break this one down and tell us what they think.
Cheers from the Buoyant Brits, and we have a great matchup that we got to break down. Buoyant means you float, by the way, Bryce. Nameless. We saw a moment at the end of that game, and we both said, holy crap, Boston is going to come back and take this game number 4. TJ shooting down on a player in the water, and Nero just flips on him.
My guy got thunderclap from the water. I mean, seriously, like, I think it happened a little bit prior to this situation here, but, you know, we heard, them talking about the spawns a little bit and the nature of this map. It's so difficult. Like, even on rotation, we see towards P5, they're just going to spawn behind you anyways, unless you're hard blocking, running back and forth there. But we saw at the end, it was actually Vegas Legion on rotation early towards P1. They get wiped, and it's only Temp left. He gets 1 kill, gets traded out, and what that does is it flips him out. Boston then gets control of the hill and rotation, and Legion, they just couldn't get a hold on the map, and it was Nero back-to-back 3 pieces to secure the map control, and an incredible performance where he really turned it around.
I couldn't believe how close these games were and how entertaining it was from start to finish. Allie, we had our play of the game selected during game number 1. Yeah. It was a similar situation, though, where Boston had to clutch up. They did it not once, but twice in this series. How are they so consistent?
Well, so the thing about that hard point was the fact that they were down the entirety of the Embassy at map 1. Like, they were completely down, and they got a full 60 in Kitchen Hill of all places. Like, this is one of the most difficult points on this map to get almost a full 60 in, and Boston Breach do it to basically win themselves the game. Love to call this a game-winning moment, and it's Vivid with the scar in sight, just staying alive this entire time. He's not over-challenging. He knows he's by himself, and this was just an amazing play from the side of Boston Breach.
Well, yeah, I mean, due to the nature of this game at this point, like, it's down to the wire. You know they're going to be, like, throwing their bodies at the hill. You know they're going to be spawning out hedges, right? And rather than methods like pushing over towards tennis court, trying to get those spawn kills, he just waits, plays the tight setup, waiting for them to cross, doing some damage. He actually picks up 1 kill, and you have Awakening and Nero located around the hill. Awakening has an SMG in his hands and comes down to a big play. Awakening pops, finds a nice 2-piece, and what they get, like, 45 seconds total on this hill. So it was just beautiful from here on out. Like, Zin's got the SMG in his hand. We're sitting here like, yo, the Vaznev really is different now.
I was just about to say that. I was like, that entire hard point, we saw all the members of Boston Breach having attack and Vaznev out like the main overhead Vaz. Awakening would have a Vaz pop 2-piece. They're like, you guys get to run around with this?
It was craziness from start to finish in those hard points, but when it came to control, this was the most dominant performance we saw from the Breach, especially on the defense. And Nameless, you were calling it out. We got to take a look at the mini-map. We got to explain why this is so strong. I feel like you had a gamble there. Methods on one side of the map, Awakening on the other, and then you got Vivid and Nero. Their job is to shut down the mid, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is the end of the round here where we see where they end up just clutching up. But throughout this round, I mean, it was really beautiful what we saw Boston doing. Like, they had Methods top tower, they had Awakening over near the AC, holding down each side of the map, and Nero and Viv were just trading so well in the middle of the map. Like, when you get a team wipe there, you kill 3 or 4 players, they're gonna spawn out towards white, right? And typically what a team will do is they're not gonna push up field because they don't want to lose that and then get super trapped. So they're gonna start to rat back towards their bottom mid pool. But if you play like a rat, like Vivid was down there, or Nero, and camp those corners, you're gonna kill them, continuously spawn them back there. And whenever they did try to go field, they always ran into Awakening and Methods on the left. So just a really good defensive setup that we haven't seen too many teams accomplish to that level.
All 3 of us called Boston. Allie said if it goes to game 4, Boston's winning. If it goes to a game 5, she was switching it to the Legion. Instead, though, it's done in 4, and Boston now 2-1 in our Major 2 qualifiers. Right now, we're joined by their big AR. He just sold me a hoodie last night. Better days ahead for Boston Breach fans, Methods. They're crushing it today, my friend.
What's up?
It's good to see you. How are we feeling?
Better than I would have felt if we lost.
Wow. What an answer. Thanks for that. Congratulations on the win against the Vegas Legion. I have to ask, Nero, I feel like I found has been a little bit inconsistent, but right there in the end of that hard point, he was what kind of saved you guys that map. Is Nero a player you would describe kind of thrives in that chaos?
Yeah, he's like Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, he's always up and at him. He's obviously quick and aggressive, and like his impact is second to none. So even when he's not maybe putting up kills or slaying out, he's still like applying pressure and making the job easier for me and Joe. That's why I think playing with Reese and Dill is so easy, is they're just both very aggressive, and Reese is to my right on his phone. But when they're both slaying, I feel like we're pretty much untouchable. And when they're not, it still feels like we're still in the game because they're just very impactful.
Listen, Zin, we're always talking about your team and all that. Everybody's asking you questions about Boston, how you guys are improving.
Yeah.
And you give us all those answers on your stream and on Reddit. So I want to ask you a little bit on the personal side of things. We did an interview with Scump, and then he retired right after that. I want to make sure we're not going to be doing any interviews with you and seeing any retirement soon. How did it feel when you saw one of your best friends in Scump retire on Monday?
Yeah, man. No comment. I'm still playing for now. Obviously, seeing him go is tough, and oh Jesus, man.
Wow, they had that.
Wow,
listen,
they had that ready.
Listen, he's obviously like done a lot for me personally and the scene, right? Like, I mean, I met him 12 years ago, and him and Nate were sort of like mentors to me, in the sense that I looked at them as examples of what I can turn this into, and obviously he's had my back every step of the way. The top right picture is my favorite, a nice old-fashioned. Seeing him go is tough, but it's one of those things where he's done so much where now he can take a step back and relax and do his watch parties and still support the scene, but in a little bit of a different way. But I feel like his retirement it was the retirement, right? Everybody was sort of dreading the day it happened, and that day happened. So yeah. Tears were shed for most of the community, but obviously, as seen yesterday and today, I think he'll be just fine.
So what are you hoping to accomplish with this Boston team? Because we know the Boston Major is coming right around the corner. What inspires you and motivates you to keep on going?
Just that feeling on stage, right? I mean, there's nothing like the hard work of competing paying off. I think the highs and lows are pretty extreme, right? I think the lows these days have left me in a spot where if we're not performing well and we're not getting wins, you kind of don't want to get out of bed. And then on the flip side, if you are winning and the team's doing well, it's like you're on top of the world and nothing can knock you down. So it's a balance of highs and lows, and I think those highs are what make the lows worth it. So just gonna keep hammering away and hopefully bring one home in Boston.
Methods, I got a chance to plug your line. Hit me with it. What is betterdaysahead.club?
Good man. Wow, thank you very much. So obviously I'm a big proponent for mental health. As a player, I've had my fair share of struggles with anxiety and depression, and it's kind of tough to talk about because it's a scary thing to talk about because I don't want to be seen as a liability to any of these guys or my team, but I'm trying to talk about it more. I just think mental health in general is something that needs to be talked about, especially in this whole social media era. So I own a clothing company called Better Days Ahead. The goal of that is to make dope shit while also supporting and promoting a good cause. So we donate 10% of all of our profits to mental health charities. So if anybody watching is interested, it's betterdaysahead.club. We got a hoodie and 2 shirts up. Thank you guys very much for letting me talk about that on stream.
Did we plug that without asking permission? I'll take the fine. Here we
anyway.
go, baby. That's Methods. You're doing great things for the community. One of my favorites from the very beginning. And congrats again on tonight's win.
Look at that chest hair. I gotta trim that
Get him
up.
out of here. All right, let's cut him.
Look at that chest hair.
That is Methods. He's going to be in Boston. You can join him the 2nd to the 5th in February. Once again, tickets are on sale right now for Major 2. CallOfDutyLeague.com is the place you should go during the break. When we come back, we'll talk about our next matchup. And reminder, we got watch parties all over the place. Use the hashtag CDL Watch Party all over social media. And if you want more information, it's on that same website, CallOfDutyLeague.com. We'll see you there.
The Call of Duty League sends out amazing newsletters before each major tournament, curated with premium content for CDL fans. Scan the QR code on the screen to sign up today. You'll not only get the latest CDL updates straight to your inbox, you'll also be entered to win a free 2023 team pack.
So what's the plan? Same crew, but this time, we take everything.
And Dylan Allen has picked up 3 in a row, looking to take care of the entire squad, and he's done it. Here we go. Number 2. It's all coming in. They haven't got the first segment yet. Kenny on the flank. Kenny on the flank. Kenny!
It's LA Thieves taking on the London Royal Ravens, number 8 versus number 12. When we look at our overall leaderboard, and both of these teams desperate for some CDL points. As we take a look at this graphic, nameless, who's more surprising to see currently in their position?
The world champs, without a doubt. LA Thieves sitting in number 8 with 40 points. Like, come on, you thought they would bounce back by now. They got a match served up to them on a silver platter right here. They got to run away with it.
And it's not the biggest panic button just yet, because they are still in that top 8, but teams like Boston Breach are winning. Vegas look good. Florida Mutineers are winning. LAG are winning. So they need to start catching up to the competition. On the flip side, London Royal Ravens, a completely opposite situation from last year. They started off hot last year, securing a 3rd seed so that they could pull themselves the champs in the end. Now they are the 12th with 20 points, and they just made another roster change, and they are not looking good. So this is a very important match for both these teams.
If you missed the pre-show, we pointed out London's points, those came in the very first week of competition. 0 points since opening week. Can they get one tonight? We will find out, but it's going to be brand new rosters coming in for us. Scraps now officially on the London squad, but when we're looking at LA Thieves, they're playing with someone in the place of Kenny. Capsule came into the match last night against Toronto Ultra, our number 2 seed. They get blasted 3-0, but Caps put up the best numbers in that opening game of Hardpoint.
Yeah, he was playing really good in Hardpoint, honestly. In a couple situations, they could have ran away with that one. But this is the LA Thieves team that even if they did have their full roster, going up against Toronto, we've seen that match happen before. Toronto was able to beat them. Probably would have been no different. Looking at the series today, though, they have the definitive edge here, but they've been struggling. Like, they have 4 straight Hardpoint losses, 4 straight search and destroy losses. Like, we got to see a turnaround in these game modes, and especially in Hardpoint. Everybody's sitting under a 1 KD for this team. Like, the fundamentals are there. I break down this team a lot when we talk about what we're seeing in the Hardpoints, but somebody needs to be able to make these plays on the rotation, get the 2 big kills that they need, right? Like, you need to be able to drop strategy at some point and put that gunny up, and these guys should be capable of that. They just typically start out slow in these years.
I want to see the vibes early, right?
Yeah,
That's what I want to see, because Sam was not a happy man last time they played. I was watching his face throughout that series, and he was just stone-faced, frustrated, clearly. He's got to have a better day, and on the other side for the London Royal Ravens, I think we know what we're going to get out of Asim, right? He's got the best stats on this team. We highlighted what he's accomplished in the pre-show, but their numbers as a squad are not looking good. Scraps has to get more comfortable, but you're highlighting Nasty as a player to watch today. He's been one of your favorites for a while, Allie.
It's been wholeheartedly disappointing having to watch the London Royal Ravens at the beginning of the season, and to see them make the repeat of hot potatoing the roster is really, really disappointing. I like the players that they had in the beginning, and now they're plugging in Scraps, which we haven't seen in competition in a very long time. And not that he necessarily did bad in that opening matchup, but there were small mistakes that just should not happen on the professional stage on his side of things. And now, once again, we are losing Zero. We're losing the IGL for this team on the roster. We're bringing back in Paul X, so I'm worried about the in-game leadership. I'm worried about the team chemistry. I'm worried about the practice. I'm worried about the roles on this squad. Could they come out in this series and just completely prove me wrong and just be disgusting? Absolutely. But from on paper, from this side of things, it does not look like this squad has any looks at the end of the tunnel.
Chad, let's get weird. Put all of your channel points on this one. Do it right now, because the match is ready to go, and we have two beautiful faces. You saw them in Raleigh, but they were casting COD Mobile. Tonight, they're with us. We got I Hold Shift in proper casting the good old CDL.
W in the chat.
Hey, we're trying. Thanks for having us. I think, Puckett, you made that decision, so we'll give you a little bit of benefit on that one. So, yeah, this is an exciting one. I mean, let's be honest. You guys hit it out of the desk really nicely. This roster for London, what are we going to get? Nameless mentioned it. It's kind of a revolving door right now, it feels like, where you throw something at the wall and you see what sticks, my friend.
Yeah, you're given all the different pieces of the puzzle. What makes the beautiful picture is we take a look at some of these rosters that have been revolving through that door that you were talking about. Paul back in, Zero was out. Scraps is also here as well. And the difference is what you're going to be expecting from Paul in that main AR role. A little bit more proactivity in the hard point, knowing where he needs to be at certain points in time. He was dropping numbers even in a losing fashion.
Oh, absolutely. And Ant brought it up on the desk as well when you kind of compare the two. You expect Paul to play with a little bit more vigor, a little bit more speed, and who knows, maybe those numbers are reflective of that. The other thing about this is, like, here's the thing that I kind of really rest my head on when it comes to this London team, especially in the respawn, is as a team overall, KD, they're not getting heavily outslayed. I mean, we see it from Asim. He's obviously taking over so many moments in time, but what you're going to get out of a team like Paul is his ability to kind of help IGLing from the back and definitely being selfless when it comes to getting on the hard point. That's where they're missing out. They're just not getting on the objective.
Yeah, it's all about just being able to convert. All of these eliminations that Asim is finding across the map, it's great. His stat lines are just absolutely gross at most times, but you need to generate more hardpoint time off of that. If Asim's not going to be the one that's on the hardpoint, we know that Nasty has been generating the highest amount of hardpoint time for this roster of the Ravens. Somebody needs to be able to be there to help things out around the hardpoint. You just can't leave Nasty ghosted on the hardpoint for the back 30 seconds. We're going to be looking for Paul to be able to anchor out those longer lines of sight through the middle of the map or across these different fixtures of whatever map you're talking about to help things out in that matter.
And look, we know Allie's going to be looking at this as well when it comes to evaluating this form of the roster. How cohesive are both the ARs going to play together, and then how do they relate to the subs that are going to be up front? A lot of things to look for, really. I mean, as much as this match may not seem super important because of how they are right now in the overall standings for Stage 2, this is a crucial overall match to try to find a way into that winner's bracket and try to stay away from that very, very devious lower round 1 matchup. But here's your maps and modes. Fortress Hardpoint at Proper talked to me here. This was kind of a surprise to see Thieves let this through in the first place.
I mean, Thieves got to be feeling pretty darn good about this map mode combination on Fortress Hardpoint. The last time that they played this one in particular, obviously with Kenny, the guy was going off, and he was creating so much space, and he was creating so many different opportunities for the LA Thieves to be able to generate a lot of that hardpoint time. On the opposite side, for London, the last time that they played it, I believe that, let's call a spade here, brother. They ripped the rugs right out from Minnesota. They completely got away with highway robbery and being able to win that in P2 the way that they did. And that's when we start talking about their cohesion in those issues alike. Are London going to give them a run for their money as far as what that front to back line is going to look like? These SMGs from London definitely need the assistance from their ARs here.
I definitely don't want to throw too much too soon, but I think there are some Thieves fans out there saying, why is Mercado Search and Destroy still in the mix for a possible map 5 considering what we saw yesterday? But let's just take the focus right on into this Fortress Hardpoint, because we spent a lot of time talking about that guy top left. But how about Capsidal? I mean, you have to think that on a map like this, he's the one that has to try to go and play a one-on-one with the team. Look to see how aggressive he can get, and if he's going to find efficiency kind of on that rogue route and to open up space for his ARs to start moving forward, because LA Thieves had a very difficult time setting up or finding any even looks whatsoever towards the third hard point on Fountain. That's going to be a key victory point here for either of these two squads.
Yeah, growing pains are always going to be something that you're going to obviously deal with when you have to bring in a last-second substitute, especially with the big YY shoes that you have to fill of Quavo Ken, right? It's just one of those things that Capsidol is going to have to come into his own, you know, kind of thrown into the blender here with Octane, Draza, and Envoy, just to be able to see what they're able to do. And just to kind of echo the desk one more time, Capsidol came out in that first map, and he was cooking. I mean, 28 and 25. 1.12 overall. You can see here from top to bottom as far as the season KD is concerned. Obviously a much smaller sample pool there for Capsidol after just one series comparatively to Kenny. But if you let this guy go off, you basically just want to be surrounding him. You and I get to see it a lot in challengers, what he's able to produce, when his ARs are right there to back things up of what Capsidol is producing with an SMG.
That 1.86 search and destroy KD, that's through the Elite Season 1 thus far. His team is technically still alive in the lower semifinals of that Challengers Elite season, but that 1.86 is good enough for second globally in Challengers Elite. And when you think about the Thieves and kind of their downfalls in Search and Destroy, not just yesterday, but kind of historically, that's where you say, okay, Caps is not just filling in to try to fill those shoes of Kenny, but maybe he can actually help improve this team in the Search and Destroy.
Yeah, I mean, just one of the most zany stat lines I've ever seen come across from challengers in general. Off of 2 days of playing through the Elite, Capsidol was 20-5 as far as KD is concerned in Search and Destroy. I mean, the guy has just been going off. And to go back to your little Thieves fan conversation, that's why the Mercado Search and Destroy is going to be there for map number 5 if we get there. But map 1 is where we're going to be starting off here, Fortress Hardpoint. Oh man, brother, I'm so excited to see how these two teams stack up against each other in this map mode.
All right, let's have some fun there, friends, family, all you crazy COD fanatics. We've got London Royal Ravens, Los Angeles Thieves. Kind of a must-win matchup for both of these two squads. And yeah, you got a spotlight to see him again. 1.44 just on the map. 30 kills over the course of a 10-minute average. That's ridiculous. But it's Ravens, it's Thieves. Brother, let's get it on.
Starting off on the favorite side of the map, there are the Thieves, but obviously you want to be able to maintain that. We can already see a scene in particular wanting to get aggressive through mid-maps. A 3-for-1 trade is nothing to scoff at, especially with Nasty spotting over by our pillars.
Good so far, though, on the initial trades. Thieves a chance to try to recontest, neutralize some of this time. But it's London right off the backside of their second respawns, getting a full 4-man feed, and now they start to stretch across the map, flip the spawns around while not stepping foot off of the hard point at all. It's very successful, my goodness. And a little bit of just, again, looking at Paul in the hard point. Just wanted to be the guy to soak up time for the squad, and he's done very successful. A 4-0 start.
Yeah, the successful, I think that's putting it just ever so slight. I mean, a 4-0 start for your main AR for London Royal Ravens, that's definitely what you want to see with all the hard point time being generated. 30-plus seconds off of P1. You upset LAT for starting off on the favorite side of the map, and you hold rotations ahead of new. You couldn't have asked for a better start for the Ravens.
Scrap time will fade away. Caps trying to work his way through the windows. Is team going to get a read? That Envoy's also on the stretch play from the bottom part of the map. Tries to reset. Little pinch. Long-range shots to Envoy. Decent, but not good for the kill. And Thieves will spawn in. Pressure now amounting for the Ravens, but they deal with it so darn well. And I will go ahead and say we asked the question, what would the cohesion look like with Paul in the mix? So far, not that bad at all for the Royal Ravens. Thieves still with the proximal spawns, a chance to recontest, and they will be able to neutralize for now.
And Nasty with Dead Silence just looking to play in and around Art through this side door, waiting for that assistance. You can see Paul on the mini-map. He's through just the closed doors right now. Nasty just still being a nuisance inside of Art. It's just making this so expensive for the Thieves just to fully break in for what is about to be all of, what, 25 seconds or so, comparatively to where they generate the majority of their time when they are on Fortress Hardpoint. Not looking good so far, but the London Royal Ravens, their cohesion, Alan, so far, so good.
And here's that point of contest. The Thieves have been atrocious on Fountain in the history of them playing this match, which again, the sample size is not tremendously large, but take a look at number 3. Asim is already clearing out the north side of the map. The Ravens are gonna have a great look as far as where exactly this hit's coming from. Trigger discipline from Asim, good for the double. Also a read that draws us in the back, and that'll be left for Paul and Nasty to clean up. Absolute perfection from the Ravens here in the third.
So tough to gauge, especially from the Thieves' perspective. You get that first elimination, you want to be able to fly through maps, get yourself through that big door, and then just try to upset the spawns, because as you saw it seem like you were talking about there, buddy, it's just in the right place, the right time to be able to upset any sort of break attempt that the Thieves were looking at. Down to scrap time left to play, and London might just threaten to get over 100 points already when Paul is snapping on the hill itself. Has Asim his help through Blacksmith, and yeah, that's a pretty confident about full 60 there for London on 3.
I'll say it, Asim's already threatening new around the back, just being a problem. Will force the Thieves to kind of have to back off just a touch. Space to exit here for the Royal Ravens, which is great news if you're a London fan. Octane trying to change that, though, by getting forward in towards the windows. Long-range gunfight with Paul. Doesn't love the look of it, so just back off, and, well, it finds himself nasty through the window. Royal Ravens already threatening, forcing the Thieves off the hard point, and a 96-28 affair. Fortunate for the Thieves to be able to clean up this next stretch. They can get on to Cannon and start generating some much-needed time.
Yeah, big moments here from Envoy all the way in the back. Only has a Vaznev left to play with, but as long as you're able to find at least an elimination or two and convey the information for your teammates inside the hard point, you're going to be in a pretty good spot, especially with Octane as far south as he could possibly go. Watching that mid-cut, this is forcing all the Ravens to hit through the gallows where Envoy is still lying in wait on a 4.
Exactly what the doctor ordered here for the Thieves. 24 seconds to fight for. Ravens maybe considering throwing 2 members to try to finesse the scrap time, but you don't want to give away mid-map on the rotation to New, but they may have to kind of back off the finesse play altogether, as once more the Thieves just kind of bounce out of the hard point, find the kills they need, and all of a sudden, hold your horses here, friends. You look towards the scoreboard. We've got ourselves a close game as the Blacksmith hard point opens up. Thieves controlling mid-map. A little bit of a problem for them, but at least a chance to see it go neutral as we open up the 4th hill.
All Scraps and Nasty, they both lose their life trying to get closer towards maps. You still have a Seam to be worried about their top singles. You can see through the X-ray and on the mini-map, but dealing with Paul inside of Stables, that's what you wanted to see. Envoy spree still going on. Has a cruise missile to play with if he wants it.
And he can hold his life a little while longer. Gets the regen, and now he's once again kind of the vanguard in this play. Holding forward, it'll stop at 8, the full streak. Draws it tagged up, no more help remaining, and it's Paul with the double to once again recontrol some position around the Blacksmith hardpoint. A Seam up top, furthering the point. As Draws is kind of the last one from the opposite side of the map. Maybe a chance to try to pinch this up. Yeah, well done. Timing is great there. Capsule through mid. Able to once again reclaim as this tug of war continues back and forth. 13 seconds for the scrap time, and it looks like the Thieves are largely going to have this conceded to their favor.
How to flip the coin of a bad case scenario, especially through the first 3 hard points worth of play for Los Angeles Thieves. And now you have yourself just about a dead even game, and it will actually be just that going in towards the second set. Royal Ravens going to be scratching their heads as far as how they were not able to break forward and how they kind of got thrown for a loop there on 5. But LAT just hot off the presses from the first set of hard points, finding more eliminations. Draws are already threatening for the early time.
And just tally the scoreboard real quick. Look at the time shared for London Royal Ravens, or should I say the time not shared by the Ravens. Minute 35 in the hill for Paul. The next closest is 12 seconds from Nasty. So there's very much so a cognitive decision here for the team as far as what they want to do in and around the objective. Maybe something to be said about Nasty wanting to play a bit more aggressive with the Seam. If it's working out, hard to say for sure yet. Caps, broken cameras. Seam takes him not just down for the first, but furthers it by taking out Octane, and that will be a 3-for-2 exchange. Draws the last one left, but keeps the play alive. Off the reload, just has Paul to deal with, then Capsule off the respawn there for assistance. The break is good for Scrap, and Los Angeles will be able to put ourselves into about a tie game.
Couldn't push past the pillars, though, here for the Thieves, and I love that discipline that's coming through. Cap's able to find 2 inside of Art. Now if you're Paul and Nasty and towards the back, you just got to hold the line because your reinforcements are spawning in Narnia.
Oh, this is a good read from Octane. Number 5 in white, just kind of watching the cross, delaying any possible reinforcements, and Capsule on 4 secures the break on the initial time. Once again, back and forth. LA back into the lead. Full push from Royal Ravens on the backside. Envoy in trouble. Will fall relatively quickly. Paul there to also follow up. It's clean. Holy, what is this from the Ravens? This is not something we saw when they were playing with 0 just previously. Something seems to be clicking for the boys as once again, back and forth we go, but it's now the Ravens in control.
I mean, that kill feed has just erupted in favor of the Ravens. Even Scraps on 4 in a row could potentially get a cruise missile to threaten that of Envoys on the opposite side. The rotation is what the Thieves are mostly looking at. They're already dealing with Scraps, so that spree has been taken out. Nasty looking to pick things up and towards the back. Tough gunfight from Draza up top, but even just the mere fact of you just trying to threaten this, you should know that LA Thieves are probably going to have a couple players lurking in the middle of the map as the Ravens soak up the last scrap time here on 2.
Yeah, subs just buzzing right now through mid for the Thieves. Fountain will open up to their name. Don't need the hold necessarily, but you'd love to have it if you're LA, and Capsule will make sure that it's a little bit more comfortable off this initial attempt. 2 down, but as he drops, London get in towards topside maps. Seam changing the angle, but loses his compadre of Nasty right in front. Capsule also bouncing out of the hard point, and this is brilliant from the Thieves. Great lockdown. London yet to even see the Fountain.
Yeah, you just have Capsule again, just letting loose, just going off the hard point, trying to find more kills, making it very, very difficult for the Ravens just to be able to find their way in. And even as we're down to 26 seconds, you need to make the conscious decision here for the Ravens. How much do you want to invest into breaking this hard point as Envoy finds the last 2? So as a cruise missile, keep in mind, you 21 in 16. Ravens are going to concede the back 10 and try to set up for 4.
Yeah, nearly a full 60 there for Thieves. Great stuff for them. First major lead that they've had so far in this map. The question comes out to how do you rotate through this? Draza on 5, close to a second cruise missile that Thieves could possibly use. And Envoy's actually going to call his in right here on rotation. The only one that's going to be available is this player in the back. That's Paul, but he stays safe thanks to the trophy at his feet. So Ravens will be able to hold their setup, but here come Thieves quickly off the bounce, trying to get around the back, see if they can force an entry in towards the side doors. Great opening shots from Draza, but it scraps a nasty to respond in kind. Octane, last one left for the Thieves, but the hard point goes neutral as Caps is able to at least take some Raven members off, and we've got a 50-50 battle for the back 30 seconds.
It's just so unfortunate that you're forced to be able to find those trades in the back. If your flank is not secured, holding on a P4 becomes a little bit more of a frustration tactic than anything. Nice play Semtex there from Nasty. We get Octane out from the cage now, essentially a 1v1 here inside of Art, potentially for the scrap time if Envoy wants it, but mostly looking for these lurking players around this hard point at this current juncture of time. Very handshaky, going back and forth. Even this 1v1, yeah, Nasty's going to be able to get some help there from Scraps. That'll confirm the back 10 seconds. Scraps on a 7th spree, got himself a cruise.
Yeah, Matty Marshall getting a little fired up in the player cam as well on 7. And that leads to, again, just about a dead tie game. My word. No one wants to step foot into the hard point as of yet. Draws the first one to fall on the action, but Envoy gets on, forces the Ravens to have to start to play a little bit further forward here as we get closer and closer to the 250 mark. It's Thieves in the kill feed all over the place. Long-range shots from Scraps. A little bit of a heat check for him, trying to find Envoy in the corner. Can't quite catch the angle. Teammates, though, here for help. Little jump peek. Octane weakened up. Paul looking to finish. Oh, and Octane just playing with his food. Dances away. But it's the Ravens able to neutralize. Can they follow up the gunfights needed to win this scrap time with 25 seconds? Steve's looking to try to pinch this back and forth. Pinch threat goes to kill feed. Envoy from the corner. Paul trying to shut him down. Shots are there, and it's now all of a sudden onto the Thieves and trying to break through this little trap.
Birthday boy Paul showing up in a big way on a 3 spree, even shutting down Capsidol over by the closed archway. Is just so massive to be able to maintain maps control, be able to confirm the back 20 seconds. 223 to 211. You're going to start investing some of these streaks. Draza's going to go first. Going to be looking to be able to get in the hardpoint itself. Stay safe. It scraps in the new hill.
That's key. Hardpoint opens up to the Ravens' name. 230 to 211. Thieves, though, will get one player to spawn all the way towards the outside. That's Caps. Could he finally try to find a way to pinch this? Scraps feeling the pressure, calls the cruise missile essentially onto himself. Oh, but it doesn't quite land. Envoy on the break attempt. It's good for the Thieves. 238 is the score that it stops at for the Royal Ravens, but Nasty may have found a bit of an opening. Gets to the backside of the truck to neutralize once again. Scrappy gunfights in and around the hard point, but it's the Ravens who hold the numbers and the middle of the map. Thieves have to go. You can still win here if you're the Royal Ravens. All this coming through mid. It's all just a conga line, but it's coming out pretty successful. Envoy, Draza, they able to find themselves a full 4-man feed, and it looks like we're going to see another hill.
Yeah, this was all going down with Capsidol trying to threaten the rotation over towards the back. Envoy reprises, battles for the scrap time. Now you got to be able to cut down mid-map. There's no way you would expect Capsidol to be in that corner. Even fighting 2 makes it tough for Ravens to try to push through.
Ravens still spawning out. Hardpoint not active yet at the Gallows. The Thieves, they understand that this is going to be a very quick hit from the Royal Ravens, largely taking their numbers off the hardpoint. Spawn still not in for London. Where do you spawn here for Thieves? You still spawn out, so now every single gunfight's a big one. 238, 242. And London just aren't finding a single gunfight. Nasty in the corner, shut down. There's nobody here to touch. Thieves, a chance to put this map away and steal it right out of the noses of the Royal Ravens. 247, can anyone get here? Doesn't look likely, and the zone is good as LA take map number 1.
It's just so big in that third and final set of hard points to be able to make that conscious decision for the Thieves. Doing quick maps in their head as they're trying to battle for a positional advantage in and around of Art. To know, hey, we got to be able to contest this hard point. They could win, just like you were talking about their shift. But even more so than that, we want to be able to maintain spawns for the next hard point. Thieves were very aware of the fact that they were going to be able to win on P1, but what they could do is put themselves in the best winning position possible to be able to win the rotation over towards 2 while keeping P1 contested. They'll win by 8.
Take a look back at that hill time again. I mean, we're getting some real clear-cut answers as far as what does London want to do with Paul. 2 minutes and 26 seconds in the hill, 11 objective kills. I mean, come on, that's unbelievable from him, but who's going to follow up behind that? We had those questions when we were watching over London when they were playing with Zero. It's like, you get one player on the hard point, but as soon as they are not able to really quite get there for objective time, who's there to follow up? On the opposite side for the Thieves, hey, it's pretty much everyone's doing the job of making sure they can get the hill time needed. Draza, big map out of him, 26 and 23, but 20 of those kills non-traded. Still couldn't match up to Envoy. A lot of people had some things to say about his performance yesterday. What a map 1 he just had at 32 total kills, 3,300 damage, and the scuff play of the game. It's right here in the shutdown for Big Cap, the sub in.
Yeah, again, it was this positional advantage. I mean, the heads-up play from Capsidol through so many different instances throughout this Albagra Fortress map number 1. Caps was putting in the dirty work. He was just everywhere that he needed to be in the right place at the time, playing these ready corners. That really pissed me off in my Mosh Pit games, but Capsidol was playing it to such a high degree, just making sure that the reinforcements for the Ravens weren't as robust as they had wanted. And even in this moment as well, Draza on the opposite side, making sure that the flank stayed secured. You have to get through Draza first, and then you have to get through Octane on the opposite side. If you don't win the battle on those two fronts, yeah, Ravens, you're never going to get to the hill.
Yeah, great shutdown, but what a first map this is. Again, there's so much to learn about both of these two teams. And in a map that we kind of expected seemed to possibly be the spotlight focus, Paul definitely stepped in and said, hey, remember me? I'm still here. Still hanging, still doing the darn thing. When we take a look towards
what's good, chat?
Initially,
What's
kind
good?
of after the Fortress hardpoint, especially with some of the statistical success that London have had, that changes the dynamic of this whole series layout, because now you've got a hotel search and destroy. It kind of feels like for LA, just to get off of this bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm watching my own stream on my phone.
Have to win it, but
don't worry about it.
Here by winning that first map if you're the Thieves.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, if there's one thing we know for certain about LA is that their respawns have been infinitely better than their search and destroy.
Honestly, that breach game, sick. And this game right here is actually not bad.
Obviously, that small sample pool.
That was a close game right there.
Just a very tough role, but this
Start
could
off.
be where they might be able to have a
No
little bit more of
complaints.
an opening. That
No
said,
complaints.
going into this map number 2 for the Ravens side of things, they haven't played this since week 1. You heard Puckett talk about it on the desk. We also haven't seen the Ravens win any points since week 1. I don't know, man. Maybe the stars are aligning here.
It's just interesting because at a certain point, I think the desk brought this up when it comes down to some of the success stories that the Royal Ravens had in those first 2 weeks. All of a sudden, their key maps in those first 2 matches were starting to get vetoed away. But that necessarily has not been the case lately. And a lot of the focus has been more about the roster, let alone kind of the talk about, well, what maps do we want to play? Let's just find a 4. I think that's kind of the major point of conversation. So maybe something here when it comes down to being able to go to something that
have a couple
was
things.
a key to success for them when
See
they
fights
were on
tonight,
that
you know.
2-game winning streak, which is as total as it gets, unfortunately, for Ravens fans. But on the other side, here's the thing about the Thieves. We see this very regularly. You need Capsidol to really start to show up here. He didn't really have a chance to move around the map on Mercado yesterday. This would be where we really see the high ceiling potential here from Caps if he can find a way to kind of open up the map for a squad.
Yeah, I mean, Capsidol was put in so many tough situations yesterday on Mercado. I mean, we know for a fact, and even Miles shouted it out on broadcast yesterday while they were casting over that Mercado, is that Capsidol in Search and Destroy, this guy loves a hit in the middle of the map. You take a look at Paul's stats this season in Search and Destroy in particular, you know what you're going to get out of Paul. He's been grinding Search and Destroy since he's been able to hold a controller. 1.111 KD ratio on attack is where he finds the most damage at 1.48.
A lot of things to look at. But I think it's just down to what does the playbook, how deep does it go here for the Ravens with a brand new player in the mix, so to speak. I mean, the thing about it, you could really, if you really wanted to dig it back into it, it's like maybe Paul was the reason that they loved this hotel search because that's when he was still on the roster. So a lot of things to consider. It'll be the offense opening up for LA. And a quick look over towards B. It's Asim who's going to be here to throw shoulders and see if he can get a read on this. He'll have help from Scraps first blood. Good. And that will automatically have to change up the mentality here for the Thieves who are kind of stuck right now in restaurant.
I mean, they're not backing down. Draws is still trying to take more space. Scraps is going to get stunned up inside of the kitchen. But, I mean, what a standardized setup just to come out from the Ravens. Paul finds one more at 2v4.
A lot of work to be done here if you're the Thieves. No map to work with whatsoever, but Draza gets gifted an opportunity to take down Nasty, plus information on Paul. Nate's coming through. Ooh. Just gets behind a cushion to stay alive. Now the Thieves on their move. Good isolation. And for one of the teams that is the worst at converting a 3v4, this would be incredible for them to find a way to go 2v4. Just down to Octane, collects the bomb, 30 seconds. Scraps offers a gunfight at range. Not quite able to secure it, and that will be enough for the second challenge to come through. Ravens take the opener.
About to say, Octane's got an AR. Is this really the guy, whether or not he's one shot or not? You want to give so many isolated 1v1s with. He was starting to hit some pretty crucial shots, but it's a scene. We know how gross he can be in these individual duels. He'll find 2-0 to start that first round here on Hotel Search. And yeah, I mean, the standardized setup comes through because if you're the Ravens, you don't want to just give up one site to be able to fully stack in towards the other. They make sure they have players like Nasty playing the head glitch through the atrium, make sure that they're maintaining bedroom control like you were talking about their shift, and never really felt like that the Ravens lost map control.
So what do they have to offer now for their first attack? Asim, we've seen this before from his old days, just trying to open up space, create some doubt on where this hit's going to come from, and he is moving rapidly into kitchen. I mean, take a look at this. The Ravens are kind of holding up to see what exactly Asim can find, but they don't expect Capsule to just run into their faces. Bomb carrier down, and look at this has done to the offensive setup of the Ravens. They've backed off that mid-lobby area, waiting for Asim to try to open up space from behind. He's got a great look at the middle of the map, but trades back and forth keep us at a 2v2.
Bomb now dropped just inside a statue. Now you got Draza with Dead Silence. He's being proactive around the back. Unbeknownst to Asim and Scraps, they are actually very trapped in the atrium. More Scraps than anything. It recovers the bomb. You would never expect Draza to be back here.
There's a lot of unexpected in this round right now, I think, from both sides. But the thorn possibly intended to the side of the Thieves and Asim has largely been unchecked and relatively unproductive from his play off the long flank. 1v2 situation, not a lot of time. First couple of tags into Octane. Bomb still down essentially at Octane's feet. He's got a great look at this. Draza would be there for help. Dead Silence about to come up. Forces the 1v1. Pre-fires back and forth, but Octane takes the dub. And we get knotted up at one early.
It would have felt like there wouldn't have been enough time to be able to find those two eliminations, especially where Draza and Octane were playing just so isolated from one another. One all the way back by shots here. Octane for the final kill cam inside of Wine. But I love that call that's been coming through. I mean, that's what you expect out of Capsule. Going 1-for-1 there over by the L desk is everything, because then it confirms so much information for the rest of the players of the Thieves on where they have to counter-rotate towards, and then Draza popping Dead Silence, just making everybody trapped. If you're the Ravens in that situation, in a 2v-odd situation, you're basically banking on Asim to be able to have Dead Silence and make a play through the middle. He didn't, and they all got trapped.
Thieves this time off the opener from their attack, all focused on the A site. 3 defensive members here for the Ravens, but as the ceremonious dates come through, it Scraps and tries to take a peek and says, well, no one's here initially. Capsule mid-map actually gets a kill onto Paul. That will open up things completely here for the Thieves. Make it 2. Has a chance possibly to take down Nasty. Oh my! Just left to Asim, the last one up. And Cap maybe good for the full ace. Yeah, sure, give it to him. On a silver platter, mind you, why don't you?
And that's what you got to see yesterday. You'll always see this from the Thieves, is that they're bouncing around their trophy systems along with Dead Silence. Once Capsidol can load into this offensive round, he has Dead Silence. And again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but this guy, Big Cap, loves hitting through the middle of the map with Dead Silence and walking away with an entire ace. A couple smiles across the board there for the Thieves as well. Yeah, how could you not when Capsidol gets an ace here in his second match of the CDL season for Modern Warfare 2?
This is where all the narratives were set up for yesterday. Don't want to see him on a Mercado. Put him on an open map where you can make some routes happen. The guy's good. Pretty good. 4 in a row, obviously, now for Caps. As look at this for the Thieves. All 4 members right through mid. Trophy to keep him safe, or so you'd think. Caps getting stunned. Looked like his teammate with him. And Envoy also stunned up. Doesn't make a difference. The double challenge just absolutely perfect. 3 for 1 the exchange. Scraps very rapidly into a 1v3. He's collected the first, but, well, the hurdles, they're tall. And these obstacles are not very easy to traverse, especially considering the circumstances. Clean stuff from LA.
But I ask, what's your vertical look like there, Scraps? Because that hurdle is a mighty one. Had Dead Silence to play with. Bomb dropped essentially all the way inside a restaurant. And the quad hit through the atrium as unconventional, I suppose, as it may be for the Thieves. It does work out, albeit finding a stun. You don't know how much information you're able to get off that one stun. The double challenge from Envoy and Capsidol pays massively. One for which a Capsidol has that hard read on the player trying to hit through the rug side of Wine. These just really have not lost numbers apart from that first round.
Yeah, and how about that? I mean, this is a team that is, statistically speaking, 3rd in the CDL when it comes to winning first bloods, but 11th in the CDL when it comes to turning those first bloods into round wins. That is a number that is already changing rapidly in front of our faces. Go to a 3v3 opening exchange after the first blood leads to some space over towards A. A lot of vacancy here. I mean, Caps is just watching mid-map, and that's a lot of respect for the Royal Ravens saying, we don't want Caps to get in our back line again, so they're going to forfeit the plant and have to play retake 3v3.
Right call here, just to be able to maintain numbers in this 3v3, but you have so much space that you have to clear away. Draza, especially into the backside of P2. Hits mostly coming through from the atrium as Nasty goes up top.
Caps just needs to get 1 from this position. He's got help behind him, but he is the alarm system for this post plant. Tries to cross the bottom luggage, not going to work out for him, and now all of a sudden the Ravens can jump right on in towards the site, but there's still confusion on where are the Thieves. They found out Octane. Draza, do you have an angle at this bomb? Has to check it soon. Scraps on the movement through. First shots are there. Tries to get the second. Would have been a round-winning play, but the 3v3 retake, good for London.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you want to do. You just want to try to maintain the presence on the map. Don't fall or don't succumb to the pace differential that Capsidol is trying to set through the middle of the map, albeit in a 3v3. You just anchor through the middle of the map, you play for the retake, and then you just start picking them apart one by one. Asim having himself a laugh there throughout the retake as well. It's kind of like a few of those breaks that we saw through the hard point. This is the cohesion that we want to see from the Ravens when they're trying to take back the map.
How much of that is the X factor of Paul possibly being in the mix on a number of these winning rounds all of a sudden for London? 4 in a row though, first seed. He will once again, this is a very similar setup as round 1 offense for London. Have a team kind of play over towards B, but the rest of the troops kind of feel things out over on towards the A site. Once again, it's Capsidol trying to get a little bit aggressive through archways, but will back down. And I think London, oh man, they're going to be in a really weird piece of timing here. Thieves have backed off to defend this A site, and there's not a lot of utility left here for London.
Oh, Michael Bay film has already come and it's gone. Some shots are going to be coming through from top and bottom bedroom just to see if you can get a couple hit markers, get some information. But I love this call out from London Royal Ravens. Again, just trying to catch the Thieves in an unforced error in their aggressive ways. But as you say, they back down. Now Ravens have to push forward.
Andraza shows himself on the shoulder check. Who's going to move first? That's the question, because you don't have an exit here if you're London. You're stuck. You have to commit to A. There is so much doubt on where exactly the Thieves have moved up through the B side. You can't go back through mid, and you can see exactly why. Octane just kind of shouldering the cross. Very avidly also making sure no one hits a pinch through archway. It seems trying to create an opportunity for the bomb to re-ramp, but there's not a lot of time for this to happen, let alone the fact that there is 0 intel. Seam confirms that as Envoy just holds a corner on him. Stun comes out. Nasty stunned up, will likely be contested in 50-50 fashion. Has to win this gunfight and then immediately get the plant. Octane already watching it. No chance, no how. Thieves will take the round. Clean stuff from the defense.
Just what a cool call coming through from the Thieves. You know, you don't find any at all much of information off of your attacks and your throwables in general. So again, you just back down, you play these very annoying positions. You just have to be able to maybe check. Obviously, the information would be mutual if the bomb got planted, but they maintained their numbers to such a high degree that Envoy, when he was finally done eating his lunch inside the restaurant, he's playing that corner. He's just expecting for the push through to come all the way across the wine side. And once the door opens up, he finds a seam. It forces Nasty's hand, and as you also said there, Shift, Octane was quick to make sure that there was no kitchen plant to speak of.
Just great map control from really minute 1 for LA. This time draws a dead silence. Stunned. How does London react to this information? Secondary stun comes out. Also the Semtex. First blood likely going to come to the middle of the map, though. Envoy backing down. Very lucky to be alive, if we're being honest with one another. 60 seconds on the clock, and he whips again. Look back towards Straza to try to find the 1v1. Maybe to create the go call to get to B, but as he's shut down, the Thieves are scratching their heads, a little puzzled on what they want to do here.
Have presence over by A, but Capsidol's looking to create more space in towards the back. There's still defenders to be worried about over here. Yeah, he finds one off screen. So now it's going to cause more doubt for the defenders. Nasty. Anybody going to turn around? Capsidol's top catwalk. He gets the information on the next as well. And we know Big Cap, he's going to push the gunfight.
You got to have that calm if you're London. Scrap's last one left. Bomb's still not planted yet, but it's going to force a little bit more of a difficult spot here for Matty Marshall. Does get the check over towards A, no one home. Winnable 1v2, sees Caps, but timid of the gunfight. Jump peek, decent for damage. Envoy now here to help. You assume the double chat will come through. Scraps though predicts it. Now over the top of the head, yeah, it's a difficult gunfight. And Thieves will put this one into a very comfortable cushion for him. And man, I'll tell you, if they go 2 up in the series, I don't mean to get there too soon, but you start to kind of take the wind out of the sails for London in this second map for sure.
We still have so much of this journey left to go, though, but I tend to agree with you on many different things there, Alan. Even more so than that. I mean, you just got to talk about the value that Capsidol is finding continuously with these dead silence plays. Even in that final moment as well, speaking of dead silence, once Scraps was about to be pushing over towards Jacuzzi, the dead silence was fully dissipated. It's so much more difficult to be able to push into 2 SMGs that are just throwing shoulders at you at that moment of time. Map point here for the Thieves to go up 2-0 in the series.
And how do you win 4 in a row if you're London? It hasn't felt like they've been comfortable really on any of their setups yet, and even, well, further my point for me, why don't you Octane? Easy first blood onto Scraps. Straza following up. No way, no how does Asim get into the back line this time. And London's designs, well, may have to go back to the drawing board here. as they're stuck. I mean, completely isolated. You know for a fact that you've got a lot of focus towards mid, but you don't know where Caps is, which seems to be the steady problem, and that's why. Nasty cut up, and it's just down to the new guy on the block. Paul, this would be, well, it'd be something special. 1v4 required.
There's Caps it all behind the bench. You take down the guy. He was double positive. Shots coming through behind Paul. Time is not on your side here, friend, and just as they try to chow out, the little peek over by the B control zone was good from Draza. And how about the Thieves? Closing things out on the search and destroy, go up 2-0 in the series. Did not have it on my bingo card, Alan. I'll keep it a buck with you.
I'm just same here, my man. And the fun thing about this, if you're a Thieves fan, is you kind of look over the course of their search and destroys in the past. Outside of yesterday, I mean, 7 out of their 9 search losses have gone to round 9 or beyond. But on the more positive side of things, the majority of their wins have looked like this. 6-2, 10-6 from Capsidal. Whew. Dude, you want to say if Challengers players could make their stat lines remanifest into CDL, I think we just got our answer from Big Cap.
There's just so much comfort across the map, isn't there? Especially for Draza, Octane, Envoy, who, I mean, maybe outside of 8s in some other instances are probably teaming with Capsidal for the first time. 10-6, a lot of that was all the rogue plays through Wine. We saw the Ace as well a few rounds ago to speak of. It just felt like that when the Ravens were trying to answer back with a more slow, steady pace and trying to catch Thieves out in these unforced errors and maybe waiting for Envoy or Capsidal to throw a shoulder to be able to get that first blood, it was just never there. The Thieves answered back with a slow, steady pace of their own.
Wow, 2-0, the series tally. It will have to be a hotel and double dose of Mercado if London were to be able to put together a reverse sweep, which I don't think many people would be willing to take that wager either at the current moment, especially considering how Control has happened. But we've got more on that when we come back. Happy to see you there, friends. Don't go too far. More CDL after this.
Upgrade your game with a Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck.
Welcome back there, everyone. We are in the middle of it. Although it feels almost a bit out of reach at the moment. London down 0-2. Thieves looking real solid with the second day of the Capsule experiment. But, hey, we got to take a second to not talk about COD. Paul turned 21 today. You mentioned it during the Fortress Hardpoint. But it's not just the 21st birthday for him. Because it's also the 21st, it's technically his golden birthday. How about some big shout-outs in the chat for Paul X, who's having, let's be honest, a great series considering the score circumstances.
Yeah, he really is making the most out of it, right? I mean, you go back throughout the Fortress Hardpoint was insurmountable to the success that the Ravens ended up having on that map mode combination. Tried their best through the Hotel Search and Destroy, but that's a tale for a different day, perhaps for maybe what Ravens could have done better. But yeah, happy birthday, Paul. Happy to see him back in the league here, along with Nasty Asim and Scraps for the Ravens.
Yeah, again, it's been a really nice kind of welcome back party, I think, at least through the first two maps, but this is where things start to get a little bit dicey. The last time the London Royal Ravens won a control was way back at the beginning of December versus LAG. That also includes a loss in the Pro-Am to the LAG Academy team. Need to figure it out, and once again, we kind of stick on to what has been their preferential pick. It's going to be Hotel. No better time to figure it out and nix this 6-game loss streak on control than right here, right now to try to extend the series there, partner.
Yeah, I mean, hey, again, their last win, albeit what feels like an eon ago, was last year for crying out loud. It was on Hotel, and a lot of that success really came through from, you guessed it, was going to be Paul. He had a 1.04 with an AR in hand. What can he do here?
Let's find out. London on the attack first and foremost. Little 3-1 split. A lot of the opening focus towards B. They tried this versus Toronto where just stack the B zone. Get as many points of progress as possible. And then if we have to back up and default back to A, we'll do so. But the first part of that checklist already denied. Draza takes the final 1v1 to make sure no further threat towards B can be established. Even finds Paul through the doorways, but it'll be Paul who wins the elimination with the team rotating over. This is a chance here. Wait a second. London can actually get some significant progress on towards B here.
Oh, they don't take the bait, though. Capsidol finds that one kill over by A, and the rest of the players here for the Thieves are trying to contest over by the B zone. Nasty, last alive. Good luck. Have fun there, brother. But Scraps, the #1 statistical player for the Ravens in the mode, will find 2, but that's all they're going to get. Back to the drawing board. Over to A we go.
And this is that same mentality for London. Get as much as you can from B, and then off the second respawn. Let's go over to Restaurant. Threat, though, from the Thieves. They're on the back. That is not the team nade you wanted to see if you're a London fan, because now that opens the floodgates. Thieves on the way back forward. Do take care of a couple. Scraps last one left alive on a double, but Capsule just delays long enough to catch the free gunfight. They'll turn and burn home. Capsule now on 3 in a row. 40 seconds on the clock, and the life lead starts to grow for the Thieves.
Mitigated down to at least 3. This is still doable if you are the Ravens. You don't really have anybody in superior positions. There's nobody for the Thieves inside top bedroom, so they're trying to go over towards B. And with that in mind, the Thieves are actually spawning over by shop, so numbers are not here to try to recontest early.
You have to shut down this play through middle, though, if you're the Ravens, and you want to add the extra 60 seconds, because here comes the Thieves around the back. Oh, boy. Just down to Scraps. Last one left. A decent effort. Oh, what a prediction that is from Envoy. 2 HP in a dream. Stunned up to 1 HP. How important was that extra health point there for a moment? May not make much of a difference in the end-all goal. It's really just Paul trying to get on and stop this clock over on the B side. Envoy deals with it for his 3rd in a row. And London are desperately looking for an extra 60 seconds on it.
Got 2 players stacking in at the moment, so that second segment's going to be coming through very quickly. Now, if you are the Thieves, how much investment do you want into this? You can see there's 2 players on the minimap for the Thieves actually completely conceding it, looking for bedroom, impact, garage control. Yeah, they're just going to back down from it. You don't want to throw more lives away with it when you maintain such a life lead.
Yeah, 60 seconds essentially on the clock. You've got a 5 life advantage. No need to do anything crazy. But it is just 1 tick needed here, so 1 break from London may give them a little steal away attacking round. But problem solving has to come through. Nasty throwing shoulders. Has Scraps with him. They're going to double work over through mid. Draws is the one to contest this. And oh, he showed off that right quad. Nasty's just waiting for the peak. But the kills in the front are just not here. So this is just now taking extra time. There's a shoulder. Can you get the kill? Can you get the kill? That's not what you want to see from Nasty. Draws stays alive. Now we're down to 30 seconds.
Scraps is trying to push it to at least get that elimination in towards the back, but you still have players off screen like Envoy. He's all the way in the back. He's on a spree. You can see up there at the top right. He gets himself a cruise, and like you were saying, I mean, you got to have problem solving on top of winning gunfights, and both of those things were just not checked off the laundry list. Now it's up to Scraps. He's the player push up further forward, but find some eliminations. Can't get on the zone, though.
Seam has time to touch this. Last one left. It would be unbelievable. And it will stay that way. Thank goodness. And looking like, for this Thieves squad, as much as we obviously saw the stark statistic out of London, the control from Thieves has not necessarily been super great. So for them to execute some discipline, to not retake or try to go for retake at A, I love that call, and that's just good playmaking.
Oh, look, Octane's loving it, too. He loves listening to you on the CDL, brother. He's just having himself a good old time over there, especially when Capsidol is just frying through wine like that continuously, making it so expensive through the opening rip, man. It's just one of those things, again, that you get from Capsidol, that you can actually trade one for Kenny, because Kenny would be making those egregious challenges happening continuously. Draws a 10 and 6. Envoy, like we were talking about, all the way towards the back, comes in on a 6-3, has a cruise missile.
Oh, and how about 7? Very rapidly now over to Asim's direction, staying prone, gives himself a chance to contest this, but only finds one of what needed to be at least 2, so very early pause on the clock, as Thieves will likely guarantee themselves the first tick of progress, but not stacking, looking to potentially just play for a bit of elimination, see if the Ravens want to try to give this a go. The second member on will force the hand maybe a little bit faster here for the Ravens, and they are committing, or at least attempting to. That's dangerous prospects, because mid-map Draws is creating a pathway to quickly transition. This is dangerous for London.
A lot of focus. Still trying to invest and maybe trying to find a couple of exits, but just as you were thinking, maybe we find some exits over by A. We set up over by D1, D2. It's all gone awry. Trying to convert over by the B zone. You have only lost a single life so far, Thieves.
This may be one of the quickest offensive rounds on Hotel Control we've seen in a minute. Third tick of progress on the way. Kill still coming through for London. Capsidol trying to put it over the finish line. Octane on 2, trying to find whatever weapons he can, but is unfortunately not able to get the full swap. Although Draws is going to get a really good look at Scraps here. Stun will also connect. Long-range shots to Paul also nearly lands. But things will pause for a moment. London trying to set up their defense, but they find themselves down 6 lives and still a minute 50 to kill off the clock.
Oh, deep breaths here. You are the Ravens. Cannot get too hasty with your positioning on the map. Envoy, the Thieves, they know that they can put this one under. The cruise missiles being called in. So hard to finesse it around the corner. It'll connect onto the zone. There's trophy systems above, though. Paul stays alive. Thieves, though, still encroaching forward.
And it gives him a 3v1 in bedroom on the only defender up top. London still trying to force a bit of a retake in. Envoy still stunned. Asim takes the easy kill, backs away. Draza not able to confirm any trades. Good stuff here from London on the bounce back. Stalled off at least one of the inevitable hits from the Thieves, so still a minute 15 on the clock. Tough gunfight for Scraps, but the rest of his teammates around him, once more, kind of retake the map for the control of the defense. This is an opportunity to possibly get a little bit extra further forward, because Thieves have to play through shops. There's no avenue through bedroom right now.
No, not at the moment. You know that you have to concede that if you are the Thieves. 17 plays up against 13. You have a whole set of respawns over your adversaries, but time is of the essence. You have to make this worthwhile for how much time it's going to take.
Got great help here from London as well, reading this hit around the back. Scraps going to make sure no one comes through the blasted hole in the wall. Have they given this up too early, though? Do they understand how many members for LA are here? Doesn't seem to be. Nasty has to double back, and it works out well for a double kill. Envoy still trying to work his way back in. Dead Silence in play. He wants to go quickly, and no, he's been allowed to. 12 plays 10. 30 seconds on the clock. Third tick of progress still halfway earned. Have to find a way to stop this clock, though. Asim could be the next thorn. As he gets around the back, good prediction from Draza, but Asim still wins the gunfight. Is that enough vacancy, though? Now back through mid. A second kill comes through. Thieves need to try to scramble to get on. And London are still kind of swarming around the middle, just trying to hit these little pinches out, keeping Thieves just at bay, at arm's reach. Capsidol tries to get on to stop the clock. Envoy with the follow-up elimination. Numbers are here for LA. Nasty down 80 feet, taken down by a friendly trophy system, and the capture will come through at the very last second for LA.
But it got away with it too if it weren't for that meddling trophy system and that team kill that came through right afterwards. That is just so unfortunate. That 5th player comes into play. You know, that 5th player was the LA Thieves trophy system, just stopping it right in its tracks. It is just so unfortunate because the Ravens really did a good job, as we were talking about. I mean, you had Asim in top bedroom for what felt like 3 years, honestly, as everybody else had to kind of maintain the back P2 area. And as you were saying, there was no way that they were going to be able to fully read how many players for the Thieves were still coming in towards the back. And as soon as Nasty has to double back and double down, he kind of puts it to rest, as Envoy was the only player to maybe touch the zone. But One good break was all that was required there for the Thieves. They have a 2-0 lead, not just in the series, but in the control as well.
Oh, they want to go quick here on this defense, try to take away as much space as possible. London happy to take the gunfight, come away with first blood in the engagement. A second one there also to follow, 3 for 1. You would assume this would be the time for London to get on, stop this clock, but Envoy, other plans in mind. Goodness gracious. Another streak for him on 4 in a row. And maybe catches a seam off spawn if he doesn't have a knife out. London still trying to stop this clock towards B. Scraps is nearby, but the focus off spawn seems to be trying to get maybe some attention over towards the A zone instead.
Probably what you're gonna have to do, but you gotta get Capsidol out from the double archway. He has great assistance through the middle of the map, and now Capsidol so close to dead silence. You know, he's just licking his lips. He's waiting for that dead silence charge play in this corner. He'll find one more. The trade will be there. This has been so expensive for the Ravens just to sniff a zone.
Oh yeah, and this is just so much information for the Thieves, knowing that the commitment is coming over towards A, although Draza caught. Seam turns that into a double. And they're not going to stack for A. They want to make the aggressive route over towards B. Capsidol's here to defend this, though. And he's in a great position, bottom valet. This is a bold call. Paul able to get on to keep the clock stopped, but this is not numbers that London can really do too much to find progress on both zones at once. And Thieves are looking to maybe even put the issue a bit further forward by playing for exits here and really put the pressure onto London.
Yeah, you can see this. Capsidol's in towards the back. That silence is about to dissipate. He sees one at range, triggered his split from Cap. Didn't fully check the right corner, though. That is such an annoying spot to just spot a player out. Scraps nasty, able to combine for 2. They'll probably commit towards the push in the back, especially with the seam, just trying to keep their head in top bed.
Yeah, LA still spawning relatively close. Bottom right-hand side of the map can reinforce this without too much cause for concern. London, you can feel like they want to get on. They thought they had an opportunity to go straight from the old zone right on into new, but denied the opportunity. Another teammate unfortunately coming through as Asim was trying to find a way to deal with Draza a little bit more safety, but doesn't really quite work out. 13 plays 13, 60 seconds on the clock. London, you just gotta break the streak. Don't want to go 7 losses in a row on control. Capsidol shuts down the next attack from Asim. Nasty up top, does at least confirm 1 trade, but a lot of ground that still needs to be gained here if London want to, in some form, get comfortable on this B zone.
Lives aren't too far gone, though, but map positioning is just not in favor of the Ravens. I mean, Paul needs to go big. Those are not easy shots on Octane, all over the backside of the Godheady, but still has 1 player top bedroom to deal with. It's Capsidol, who's 21 in 15, by the way, on a 4 spree, down to the last 30 seconds.
It's just so much nuisance here from LA. Redrop though, London a chance to get on, stop the clock. Octane in the corner. Awareness is there, but Draza off his cruise missile has a chance to get this down, maybe to find kills. At least forces London off the zone. Right back in goes Asim, but the Thieves now with numbers try to contest this from the front. You also got Capsidol on the long route from behind. Keep in mind that the lives are not out of the possibility of being a win condition from either team. 7 plays 5. Capsidol deep. Oh, shots don't connect. Now you look back towards the front. Can you find a way to get back on here? Envoy with 1 elimination. Capsidol up top nearly gets a double, but back and forth we go. Envoy on the pinch. Able to work this with Octane, and the kills are good. 3 lives remain, but the biggest opponent here for London is the clock. 8 seconds. Octane stunned at couches. Everything could turn into 1v1s. First gunfight, won by Asim, has to get to the zone. It's just down to Draza. 1v1 with 0.6 seconds on the clock. It scraps. Other side of the display case. Draza working the angle. 3rd tick of progress, possibly to come through. Draza has to force the gunfight, and he goes. Does he get the 1v1? No! And we go to round 4.
At least you did it via lives if you are the Thieves. That'll be massive implications depending on the segments, but the Ravens stay alive in this map 3. They'll stay alive in the series. This is so tough. We'll see it from Scraps' perspective. The early damage was there from Draza, by the way. He connects onto Scraps' like right kneecap. And then Scraps just having to take the gunfight with the Vaznev. I don't care who thinks what the God Gun is. That is just some really clean gunfight win for Scraps to be able to keep his team alive in this control. Things got very hasty throughout the entirety of that round, Alan, as London almost gave up the A zone just to try to go over towards B. Gave up a lot of lives to do it, but into round 4 we go.
Yep, and that's a lot of resources spent from the Thieves. Most of their cruise missiles already spent. Capsidol mid-map with Draza. Oh boy, how does he win that gunfight versus Ball? Not good news here for London off the break-off. Nasty keeps the defense somewhat alive. I say that with caution, though, because it's a 3-man stack on towards B. First take already done and dusted. It's Scraps from the back really can't contest this, and they may have to chalk and rotate early. You don't love to see it. London, you need to get into some power positions if you're going to hold off 2 minutes and 10 seconds over towards A.
Almost shades of the pass offense for the Thieves, isn't it? I mean, barring just a little bit of a different break off, it's 23 points up against 26. And Envoy already has so much space, and Restaurant would have been a big 2 if he took down Scraps over by Shops. But look at the spatial awareness coming through from the Thieves. You also have to maintain presence that there's a player on the back. It's Nasty who finds 2.
What a little wake up this is from Nasty on 4 in a row. Octane just dancing. Getting his squats in for the day. Second tick of progress will be depleted, but look how quickly the Thieves have cut right through the defensive spawn. Doesn't seem to be working out too much. A heroic play from Scraps on the old zone to 2 down. You don't expect him to be there. And, well, it's just down to Envoy, and he makes good on at least another double of his own. So we go 20 v 17, minute 30 on the clock. Thieves a chance to get back on towards A, but the big problem in front of them is Paul and Kitchen, while the rest of the resources of London are respawning up through Chandelier.
And it was the biggest problem with the Thieves versus Toronto, was getting a couple players from Toronto out from Kitchen. Paul has to maintain that positioning and trust of their teammates, clear away the backside of Shops. Even being able to find those 2 kills, Paul reprises their presence, now on a 5 spree.
Draws it by himself, just trying to keep his life for as long as humanly possible. See if the cavalry can show up. Oh, and he's got some time here. Problem is, he's a trophy carrier, so no dead silence means the read is in for London, who now have a 2v2 for the front. Asim tries to go to the drop shot. Not going to work out. Scraps has to be very cautious about how you take this challenge. That's well won on the Capitol. Although, more LA Thieves members nearby, they'll get on. That will likely be the second tick of progress. Time to get things going if you're London. Third tick on the way. The stack is in, and, well, with those spawns all the way bottom right, London know it. No chance to even see the zone. Thieves keep the loss streak pounding down the faces of this London Royal Ravens team. What a convincing series for them. I think the Death's going to say if they needed to show something convincing, and boy, did they.
Well, convincing apart from the hardpoint win only by 7 points, but I'm sure they'll break that down a whole lot more colorfully than I will. But even that said, yeah, look, if you're a Thieves fan, if you work for the org, if you're one of these players, you knew coming into the series, you absolutely needed this W for Major 2 implications when we get over to Boston. And what a good showcasing out from one of which is Capsidol. I mean, night and day difference. Obviously, 2 different opponents is Toronto versus the Ravens, but 30 and 23 on the here in the control. 17 of those 30 eliminations non-traded. About 3,300 damage to back up with Draza, who was dropping nukes out of his TAC 56. 22 non-traded kills with 4K damage. Yeah, I'll take that AR.
And how about a bounce back day from Envoy as well, just to kind of keep, thrusting some forward conversations towards the Thieves' favor. I mean, I think a lot of the community last night were sitting there saying Envoy just wasn't quite getting it done, but he came to play today. There's the recap. Like you mentioned, a tight affair in the map number 1. Thieves getting a lot of assistance from their emergency sub and capsule to lock down that map, and then from there on out, pretty comfortable scenes through and through from the world champs, the reigning world champs, trying to find a way to get wins in this stage, which is hard for us to really kind of swallow at the moment. And, well, with that, Thieves now an opportunity to possibly escape a very early lower bracket entry towards Major 2. I just want to get your quick thoughts before we send things to the desk. Impressed with Caps? Impressed with Paul? Maybe some final thoughts from you there, Proper?
I think that London just need a little bit more time, especially when it comes down to Paul coming back into this roster as a whole. Obviously, pick and choosing which players are going to be fielding. It's always going to be growing pains continuously. I'm always going to be impressed with Caps and what he does bring to the table, Alan. You know me all too well, casting him through challengers through the years so far. Just want to see more.
Indeed, same here. But with that, the London experiment continues, and the Thieves, well, Pocket Desk looking like they maybe regained a little bit.
All right, we're ahead of schedule, gentlemen, after that one. And can we get a applause in the chat for my dudes? I hold shift as well as Proper. Awesome Havoc. You know what? We're bringing you back on camera. Guys, honestly, how did it feel to cast now on the CDL? You've been watching these players for years in Challengers.
I think the funny thing is for Proper and I, it's like we've watched the majority of these players as recently as a couple of weeks ago, a couple of days ago for Capsidol's point of view. So as much as it's different, it's also kind of the same in a certain amount of words. I'm sure Proper kind of feels the same way.
Yeah, I mean, it's Call of Duty at the end of the day, right? We've been watching these players both on and off the main stage, whether it's through the qualifiers in the comfy, cozy areas of our offices at home. It just feels really good to be able to do it live here for you all.
Well, you guys crushed it. Excited to have you back on the show later this weekend, but let's break down what we just witnessed here. here, Alley Cat and Nameless, joining me at the desk. And we just saw LA Thieves bouncing back from an 0-3 day against Toronto, now facing off against the lowest seed in the league and getting their 3-0 win. But it wasn't pretty, and that's what I want to hammer home in this hard point. Yes, you're playing with a sub, but that sub, he top fragged yesterday. He continued to play well today, and you put yourself in a dangerous position. Your opponent was 8 points away before Envoy and the rest of this crew clutched up.
Yeah, so on this hard point, right? London Royal Ravens are in a fantastic position. We saw Scraps, he had the cruise missile. They're spawning over towards stage on Statue Hill. They're trying to get that spawn trap in, and they do actually get it in towards the very end. And what we see is, though, the LA Thieves, a player spawns out over towards stage. They end up breaking on in. It's just a full-on collapse that we saw out of the London Royal Ravens. This is a map that you have to close out. Now, I will say, we went back and rewatched it. I saw, a couple points where Paul was looking for that player in the back. The communication was there, but they're just not able to find him, man. It's just a super unfortunate situation. When you're up that much time, you have to close it out. And what then went on in games 2 and 3, just absolute blowouts.
We had an epic moment in the Search and Destroy. That's going to be our scuff play of the game. And Allie, we don't see too many aces. Havoc got one for us on Fortress. Tonight, we get another one. This Thieves squad, pretty good at Search right now. How are we feeling about them?
They actually have been seriously struggling in Search. So to see them do well, what's funny is the fact it's on the top of Capsule, who is subbing in for this LA Thieves squad. And I think making an argument for himself at this point, saying, hey, I need to be put in the league. Look what I am doing, being plugged into the LA Thieves roster, who has been struggling in Search and Destroy. Well, I'm going to get them an ace, and I'm going to go 10-6 for this map to win.
Yeah. Does Capsule become a Raven one day? A lot of questions. Hey, Chat's asking it. I'm just saying it out loud. That's our scope play of the game, and that's coming from a sub who is performing on back-to-back CDL days. Congratulations, Capsule, on your win with the LA Thieves, the first one of the season. But right now, we got to talk with a mainstay. We got Envoy joining us live, and Envoy, congratulations on the win today, bouncing back after the loss against Toronto yesterday. What were the vibes like on the team today? What do you guys talk about coming into this matchup?
Yeah, thanks, Puckett. Just going to the matchup, we're just trying to still stick to our game plan. I mean, obviously, we don't have a lot of reps with Cap, but he's been phenomenal subbing in so far. Yesterday versus Toronto, I mean, they're like, a top 3 team in the game right now, super solid squad. So we knew if we just played our game today, that we'd be able to beat the Ravens.
Envoy, so, you guys struggling a little bit at the beginning of this year, just like last year. I feel like every year with the LA Thieves, you guys start off a little bit slow. When I watch you guys, I feel like fundamentally you're making some good plays. When we go to listen-ins, it sounds fantastic. In your mind, what is holding y'all back against some of these top teams?
I think we're just still trying to execute on our game plan and figure out our game plan on a lot of maps, hills, game modes. Along with stage 2, we might be cursed. We've had quite the unfortunate stage. Everyone's been getting sick. We've had lots of issues, so practice has been very on and off. But generally, we're just, looking to get better each day.
I wanted to know, what is it like having to plug Capsule into this roster, even though it wasn't something you expected or wanted to happen, of course, and we all hope Kenny gets better, but has it changed your team dynamic at all, and have you learned anything from this experience?
I mean, definitely learned some things from Cap each day, but I guess the main thing is that, him and Ken both play really fast and put a lot of pressure on the map. So he has been pretty easy to just plug in, but whenever you're playing with a sub, I feel like the easiest thing you can do is just let him do him. And that's what we just keep stressing, that, let him, whatever you want to make a play, you do it, call the play in search, call the play in hard point, and we will, fill in around him. So he's done really well so far.
You guys are always fan favorites every time we come around to a major. We've got another one just 2 weeks away in Boston. What do you want to say to the fans who will be supporting you, and what should they be looking forward to from this LA Thieves squad?
I mean, yeah, thank you to the fans, sticking through all the thick and thin. Just, look for us to improve. I mean, like I said, we might be cursed during stage 2, but each and every day we are going to work to get better and prove everyone wrong.
There you go, Envoy. We'll let you go celebrate with the team. Give Sam a hug for me, all right?
All right, sounds good, Puckett. Thank you, guys.
We're going to make Sam smile today. It's happening. Envoy's giving him a hug. LA Thieves walking away with a victory. And this whole squad is going to be feeling a little bit of relief off of their shoulders because they're done for the week now. You just get to watch your VODs. And, well, we got a lot more games coming up. So let me remind you right now about our Call of Duty team packs. You can look like the pros, play like the pros with the new 2023 CDL team packs. We got home and away styles. Also, we got the jerseys live right now in the CDL store. CallOfDutyLeague.com is the place to pick it up. But when it comes to these team packs, we talked about it yesterday. Ant and Allie, they're running the Toronto Ultra. I'm still rocking the 08 Thieves. Even though it's not as good in Warzone, it still looks good on me.
That one's still fresh, right?
There we
got
go.
That red and black. It's looking good.
We got another big matchup when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Can they get back-to-back wins? I know there's a few people checking it out during a watch party. Optic Texas taking on their opponents in a big one. Will they get the win, or is it Toronto staying perfect in our Stage 2 qualifiers? Find out after this.
Call of Duty League sends out amazing newsletters before each major tournament, curated with premium content for CDL fans. Scan the QR code on the screen to sign up today. You'll not only get the latest CDL updates straight to your inbox, you'll also be entered to win a free 2023 team pack.
Pay me in respect, cause once I do it big, what's to follow is a check. I need 100 bags, nothing more, nothing less. And the ops feel away, cause I'm next, I'm a threat. Oh yeah, really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger, I'm a threat. It's a gamble with your life, cause you know that it's a bet. Gotta run up the next, point to the sky with the run up, I'm blessed. I'm young, rich and black, so you know I'm a threat.
It's time to get your nuts out, chat. The Squirrel Squad is back, and I'm talking acorns. Don't get weird on me. We have Toronto Ultra, the unbeaten squad with the #2 seed, taking on Optic Texas. We're also going to see an epic showdown of the Subliners versus Atlanta FaZe, but that one not quite ready yet. Let's break down what we're about to see, Ali, and why we're all excited, because some people might not have heard the news that we broke yesterday.
What news did we break yesterday?
Optic has a new squad, and Dashy's playing for the team again.
There we go. I wanted to let you say it. I'm sorry. I was still stunned by our opener, and I was trying to process that through my brain. But it is the new Optic Texas squad, and they already now have a dub under their belt. And it was in a top series to the Game 5. The search and destroy for this team is looking disgusting. Mostly off the back of Illy, Snipes, and I can't wait for the montage at the end of the season. But life after Scum so far has been good, but this might be their toughest matchup. They're going into Toronto Ultra that doesn't really have any holes in their roster right now. They're solid at search and destroy. They're a very good respawn team, and when we talk to them, it's just about cleaning up these little mistakes in these series that they're still winning convincingly.
Search and destroy looked wonderful. They looked very comfortable. Of course, not a ton of practice in the hard points, and that's where they got exploited by the Seattle Surge.
No, yeah, I mean, in those hard points, so we talked about it in the pre-show, but to reiterate, like, you look at some of those rotations, it was literally one kill they needed to get on Fortress. We saw rotation towards Statue. A couple little mistakes that we saw in the Game 4 as well. Like, I wasn't too overly concerned about the hard point from Optic Texas. I think they can clean up on those things immediately. Like, those are overnight fixes that I saw, and I think it's going to happen today.
We just saw a new look from the LA Thieves, but they had their first matchup against Toronto last night, and in that battle, the Ultra squad was looking like they were all on the same page for the billionth time this season. So many questions around this team at the start of the year. They're so young. Can they handle the pressure? Is Scrap going to be able to perform in his rookie year? Yes was the answer across the board to all of those.
Yeah, yes was the answer. And again, I just touched on it. There really are no weak spots in this roster. But I think the problem is with this matchup specifically is Toronto Ultra should win this, right? We're talking about Toronto Ultra that is a favorite to win Boston Major #2. And, you know, in this series, they could get exposed here by an Optic Texas that is looking fairly good off of their first matchup. Again, hardpoint woes cannot be changed overnight. But Toronto Ultra could come into this a little bit too confident, get caught off guard. So we should have a banger series ahead.
Toronto not that far from Boston, and we expect a lot of fans to be supporting the purple squad there. We asked Scrappy, though, what is it going to take home a championship? And here's what he had to say to Nameless.
How are you going to set yourself apart, get to that next level, and actually take home a chip?
Yeah, I would say that we just need to just have our teamwork up to par, just everyone be on the same page, because that's really what divides these teams, these top teams from each other. It's just how good they work with each other. Everyone has a skill at these top teams. Everyone knows that they can gun each other. It's just how it is. It's just, can they work together at all times of the map? Because you might have one hold where it's good, but the next 6 can be bad. So it's just being with each other, be with each other's side at all times of the map.
The match is ready, so we don't have time for predictions, but if you're on Twitter, Nameless picked the green team. Everyone else going purple. Let's get into the games. We've got our casters ready to go. It's Brycey and Ton. Gentlemen, take it away.
Thank you very much, Puckett. Yes, what a game everyone's been looking forward to. Yesterday, obviously, Optic beat Seattle. You could call it a warm-up for this, the real test. Toronto looking hot so far in the qualifiers, one of the top teams in the CDL. How does the new Optic Texas roster stack up?
Yeah, well, I don't think many tougher tests exist in the CDL right now than going up against Toronto Ultra, so the new look Optic are in for a stern one, I would say. Here, I think, you know, there's that obvious honeymoon period that we quite often talk about. That could be a thing here for the side of Optic, but as the stats go, when we look at things and how it is going to match up, it is a very, very tough game for the side of Optic Texas here. And just one thing I want to touch on before we do head into towards Hotel. Texas Hardpoint was 8-5 before losing 2 games to Seattle yesterday, obviously making them 8-7, which is still positive, but 5 of their Hardpoint victories have been against Florida. That doesn't hold much weight to me, so Hardpoint still needing some work. New roster, can it change? Let's find out against one of the best Hardpoint teams in the game.
Yeah, and like I said before, I think we're kind of looking forward to see how it's going, because for me, Toronto are one of those teams that even a semi-good result against them here is just going to be massive for them. But they have looked consistent across their run, and again, that is a huge opener from them. Toronto Ultra completely filling that kill feed, getting P1, looking for the P2 lockdown ton.
Insight's obviously been tuning into Scump's co-stream, trying to get things done over towards the restaurant site. We'll get taken down. One thing I do want to point out, though, P3 really has been a bone of contention for both these two teams. Texas have a lot of luck on that one. Of course, we do have P2 to lock down here before we get there. Scrap, the young gun, 3-0, looking to make it 4 here. Try and lock this down as quickly as he can. Gets caught on the barrier. Can he stay alive? No, he can't. Trade's going in across the board, but ultimately, it is Ultra who come out on top.
Right now, you can see they're just trying to make sure that nobody has slipped the net. Klinex checking around where he knows where Hugh's going to be, but dips out of there. And there is going to be a bit of a pinch coming in from Optic. You can see them in all directions. Scrap trying to hold his angle, but isn't going to. Huge break from Optic Texas there in the end. They completely sweep Ultra out.
Yeah, it's the push all the way through Spa and Ultra. You can't let that happen. A perfect rotation over towards P2. A perfect break back from Optic Texas. Standing now inside the point. Klinex, Scrap answering straight back for clean dead pretty much on the side of Ultra as well. So both teams coming in with the breaks quite consistently. We need to see some holds if we're going to see some big scoring going on over towards P2. Looking like Optic are going to choke this one up. Ultra will be about 40 in the lead by the time we head over towards Kitchen. And as I said, it's been a really big hill for the side of Optic Texas. Toronto have struggled with the breaks as well, so Optic setting up could be very important.
I love that from Optic. They didn't step off the gas. They didn't retreat towards back kitchen to hold the spawn. They knew they had Ultra locked in. Perfect spawn manipulation there, and it's also meaning they're going to get a few seconds to breathe here, as it will be Toronto Ultra that has to go all the way across the map, and they are finding guns of the green wall all over, and they can't seem to break it.
It's just a high setup. A couple of kills do eventually come on through. Dashi inside the point now. Does have back up the spawns coming in over towards back kitchen in mid-map. Toronto Ultra are slowly getting closer, but 25 seconds already passed. 2 kills in. This could be the break.
Still looking for a shot. See? Trying to just stay alive, but Stanley gets him before any more snaking can be done. Hugh now diving in and somehow managed to get him as well. Snap 1 for Hugh, snap 2 for Hugh. Illy gets the 3rd, and Hugh cannot get the 4th. Klinex gets his own 2. And it is like a heavyweight fight. Both of them throwing haymakers. At the moment, it will be Ultra that comes away with that scrap time. But Optic have the rotation.
Push coming in from Ultra over towards the lobby side. They also have insight. Setting up towards bedrooms. So a little bit of a pinch. It's important that Illy finds at least one of these. And does so. He can do with this himself as well. Klinex then does fall. Ultra in control. Good flip coming in. Optic Texas have been forced away.
They have, but they're not that far away either. Hugh managed to get an entry there straight away, and he's looking for the more kills. He could be on the flank. This could be huge for him, but no! They've read it correctly. Ultra turns and burns. Illy looking to do damage control. And inside goes for the chow here as Illy keeps this alive. But now it means Ultra have to push from 2 directions, Tom.
Can they find the break? Looking to try and get themselves in. Has really been quite scrappy. Toronto Ultra just getting the better of them over towards P2. Other than that, it has been back and forth. Looking like eventually going to be choked up. 11 and 8 coming out of Scrap. Spawn out actually coming in here for Shotzi, so he's going to have a pitch starting to be set up. If you're Ultra, you need to find these kills inside a restaurant.
You certainly do, but speaking of Ultra, I don't want to talk to them right now. I want to talk to Optic. It's a new team. That means new vibes and new comms. Let's go to an Optic Texas. Listen in.
I've made.
One guy's
Hooks. Yeah.
I think cap.
He's going bricks, I think. I'm watching bricks.
Rugs again, dead.
Nothing kitchen. I shot it.
One guy's bricks, I'm pretty sure.
The buckets.
Okay, I got it.
I don't see him. Holding bricks.
Yo, rugs again.
Good
Yeah,
catch,
rugs.
good.
Nothing bricks. Literally nothing bricks.
Yeah, my rugs.
One guy's middle. I have rugs.
I repitch, ready.
Okay.
The one guy's bricks on me.
I do.
I'm needed.
Break,
You can go rugs.
two bricks, I think.
Two bricks dead.
Nice.
I'm one shot. This guy rugs. Last guy rugs. Two. He's laying down close right, and he's on the rugs wall.
Help him.
I'm gonna switch row. Yeah,
Two works.
Two there. They're both weak as
One of them's one shot.
Midpoint. There's two there. Midpoint. One more. Like, close up. On the table.
Where is he?
They're gonna be road also, guys.
Dead.
I'm already road. One guy's you. Top zig dead.
Is there a main?
Yo, middle. I'm playing life.
Where is he?
One guy's main. Yo, left first, Trevor. One more.
In the middle.
Bricks, absolute.
Shadow kitchen.
Yo, their side point.
They're gonna play kitchen.
Yeah, they're going kitchen. Two of them.
Yes, Hydra. Brandon.
Running at mid dead. Yeah.
Spawn out.
Yo, went to the side. You went back.
And the comms are smooth enough to get Optic Texas right back into this game. What a turnaround. They now have control of the next and will take the lead. Done. It has been a resurgence from the Green Wall.
A resurgence that was needed. Starting to see some big performances out of your Slayers, and that's what you need if you're going to go toe-to-toe with Toronto Ultra. Scrap, Insight, all combining. Team kill coming on through, so Ultra, this final 30 seconds is crucial before we head into a second rotation, and Optic not necessarily in the best of positions to break this. Can they find the force through bedroom? Dashi, 11-11 from him. Typically, it hasn't been him up. We've seen big numbers out of Bruce. Maybe not his role necessarily now. As Illy and Co try to start getting themselves set up for this P2 rotation. P1 is obviously to come first, and we did see a decent start from Toronto Ultra. Can they repeat that here again, once again, heading over to the second rotation?
Oh, at the moment, great position. Up to Texas. Hugo's going to be sitting here. Not going to have a ton of cover from his teammates quite yet, which will allow him to go down fast. Dashi tries to stem the Ultra tide, but hasn't managed to. Now, most importantly, keep an eye on Texas. They're going to be revolving around for this P2 all the way through. That Diner in a second, but at the moment, they're trying to just dig Ultra out of this position. Dashi is alive with four health points. And eventually just doing so much work. But it is very much back and forth. You can see Optic have done a fantastic job, Ton, of wresting this P1 away.
They have done. And they also have an Illy towards the back spawn. Full spree for him. We'll have to extend that if Optic want to find a rotation here. He's got Shotzi at the front, and who better to have there? We'll find one. Onto Kalinek. Scrap is able to answer it back, but could Illy be the catalyst? Good shots coming in, also from Standy to get Illy weak. We'll have to back on down. Does have backup coming on through, but Toronto Ultra are the ones here with numbers.
Yeah, Ultra going to be feeling this pressure. They know Illy is still going to be alive here. That would have been called out. And Texas are setting up a pinch in every single direction. They just have to win some of the gunfights. Illy flies in, looks for them as well, but doesn't get it. And that's going to be all of Optic down. They did the hard work. They got in position, but could not win the gunfights. Could be big time here for Ultra.
Shotzi gets super unlucky. He spawns out and then, he spawns in the middle of the map, and a one player from Ultra who spawned out towards Kitchen just catches him in the back. We've seen 4 dead before. There's 4 dead again. Perfect timing from Ultra with 30 seconds left to go. Split coming in though. Spawns a little bit all over the shop here. Big kill coming in. Kalinex will find it onto Illy. And it's all about this kitchen rotation now. We've seen Optic pick up some good time here last time around. They're going to need to get rid of Kalinex first.
And they've done just that. Managed to get away with him. Optic will be looking to hold in kitchen. It was a little bit cleaner from them last time around. They had the push up. But all that matters now is the points. All that matters is holding off Toronto. Hugh doing a great job at the moment, slowing the tide, getting them staggered. And slowly but surely, Ultra creep their way through restaurant.
Ultra coming in as the number 2 breaking team on Hotel. But when it has come down to P3, they have struggled immensely. This is where Optic find most of their points, and can they do so this time around? 2 kills coming in here for Ultra. Hook will find 2 of his own. Still Optic hold on.
They've got a split spawn as well, Optic. So when the gunfight is going to be huge. Ultra not as close as they would like to be. And for Ultra, is it one last roll at Kitchen, knowing how hard it is to dig out? They are going to go for it, 3 of them. There's also going to be a rotation. Many things happening on the minimap here, but here goes Ultra for it. They have fallen at the hurdle. They are down. That's and out. Clean. This now falls onto Kalinex.
Rotation. Illy is here. And he's the only one here for Optic Texas. If he can find anything, it would be massive. There's one. The rest of Optic Texas now on their way around. He will eventually get taken down. Spawn out doesn't come through. Ultra still in control, but here comes the streak. It's a 7-1 from Hook, and the missiles coming in. Will this help them try and get a hold of it? Finds nothing.
And Shotzi has done the work there. Illy gave him the opportunity. Shotzi slipped through the back. He's found 2 kills as well. Kleenex now finds Illy as well, but is it going to be enough? As Shotzi is firing left, right, and center. He has support from his teammates. That's 4 now for Shotzi. Optic are now in control. The rotation they didn't have, but they did have a chance. That is ticking away.
It's a big statement if they can take a hard point off Ultra. They've won 6 in a row. Optic Texas are 10 away, and they're still holding. Pricey, the kills are falling their way.
Oh my goodness, Ultra, it's 8 seconds. They have to win every single gunfight. Shotzi pushes ahead and gets another 2. It's a 6 streak for Shotzi. He has broken the back of Ultra. And it is ridiculous from Optic. A single gunfight from Illy gave Shotzi just the sliver of hope. He slipped the net, he found the kills, and never stopped winning.
Huge performances from the SMGs. The ARs were there when they needed to be. But Hook and Shotzi lighting Ultra up. We have to have another look at that one because Shotzi just went God mode. Optic Texas don't really have the rotation here, Pricey. Illy is kind of there. Gets taken down immediately. Ultra in a good spot, but Shotzi towards the back completely breaks them wide open.
Yeah, I mean, production, can we have a look at this again from the beginning in just a second? I have to explain exactly what happened to allow Shotzi to make that play. It is timing, it is just enough for Illy. It is kind of crazy. Essentially, Illy winning that gunfight meant Inside had to turn. It allowed Shotzi to get all the way out the back. He then found another kill. It broke Ultra completely. A single gunfight turned the tide of that hill.
Again, I mean, I spoke about it at the beginning of the map. P3 was so crucial on Ultra. Across this whole entire map, do so well, except there, and that's where Optic excel. Of course, the Shotzi, I mean, the second kill is absurd. Not sure how that was a headshot. He'll take those all day long. Optic Texas cooking in kitchen, and that gets the win. On top of some phenomenal play from Shotzi, a 1-0 lead. That is a turn up for the Bucks, to be honest with you. Ultra coming into this would have felt super confident, and that 6th spree of hard points in a row is broken by Optic Texas.
It is, and I'm going to show you this one more time because it's so important to bear in mind that it was just 1 kill. Shotzi has found his way through here. Ultra, you can see, are already turning. They cannot watch everything, and Shotzi's made 2. This opens up for Dashi. It gets them into the spawn and into the right place. And it all came off of Illy winning a gunfight. It made Insight move. It allowed Shotzi around the back. And once they were through, Ultra must be sick as anything. They had the rotation. This could have been them holding off Optic.
And that was to win the game. What a game it was as well. The slaying numbers coming out from Optic Texas. Look at that. I think it was a combined something along the lines of 16 or so for Shotzi, Dashi, and Hook without dying. Illy's just chilling. He's like, yeah, boys, you do your thing. My word.
The reason I wanted to rewatch this so many times, by the way, is because we talk about KD. Obviously, Shotzi has done amazing things there on a 6 spree. But the fact Illy was already rotating, the fact that he won a key gunfight. One gunfight broke Ultra's setup. It forced Insight to move and get the trade. So even though Illy's gone 1 for 1 there, it's allowed Shotzi around the back. It has removed players from Ultra. It has changed the spawns. It has given them that map.
This one ain't done yet. Hotel Hardpoint, map number 1, Embassy Search and Destroy coming up just after this as well. And that really has opened the series wide open. No, I kind of looked at this one and I thought Ultra would come out with the Hardpoint wins and we could maybe see something from the other modes from Optic Texas. Their Hardpoint, of course, as mentioned at the top of the show, the stat line doesn't really tell that whole story, but for Ultra as well, they've really put a beat down on some of the weaker teams, but other than that, you know, it still has been pretty tight.
Well,
that was a big game, and Optic Texas taking that gives them so much confidence heading into the rest of the series.
So here are the major 2 qualifiers, S&D leaderboards. Scrap is leading with an 11-0. We said beating up on the little teams, and he's just beating up everybody at the moment. Then you see Insight's also there with a 2.0, and then there's 3 members of Optic. This is not written down in stone that Optic walk away with it, but it is also very much up for grabs. Ultra could take this. Optic could take this. I'm looking forward to it because those KDs are going to change regardless.
They'll definitely change. We've got some interesting stats when we do head over into the Search and Destroy as well, but a slightly despondent Scrap. I think that'll be a frustrating one, but it's one they can look back on. They can see where things just didn't go their way. Optic Texas, though, are the ones who get the job done. Hey, I wonder if they'll let Nilly play in the compound today. I wonder. Back to your bedroom, son.
Yes, between map 2 and 3. Sorry, mate. Yeah, we need this one for something else. Anyway, we are going to get into this one. Obviously, this could change the fortunes. If you see Optic going up 2-0 here, they're screaming to be in the favourites. And I did say coming in, this is the real test. Toronto Ultra are one of the most consistent teams in the CDL, in my opinion. And they're consistently at the top. That's what makes it difficult to beat them. They are never an easy win. But let's find out how this S&D starts. We're on board with Optic on the attack.
Both teams not necessarily the best at finding first bloods on this map, so that's going to be influential if either one of them can get a hold of them that little bit better. Both ranked 10th and 11th in terms of first bloods. Shotzi looking for that at this moment in time. Illy will find that first blood, and as far as rounds go, without Illy sniping, Texas are 1-4 on average in terms of the rounds that they win, but with Illy sniping, that rises exponentially. He will find that first blood. Optic Texas 4v3.
They're playing this just calm, but here he comes. Mr. Movement himself. Shotzi is up top. Kleenex. And it's a door off.
Oh, why are we not watching Illy?
Didn't need to. And now Kleenex is sitting in an orange cupboard, terrified. Just watched over by Shotzi. It's a technical 1v4, but he might not even get the one. Oh, it's a snake off and he wins the gunfight, but there's so much more to do. Kleenex finds the first. Is there any hope of him taking down the rest of Optic? No.
Well, I was about to say there's a potential for an Illy sniping ace. Unfortunately, you don't get to see any of them. Shotzi just causing havoc over towards that other side, but Illy opening the entire map up. Here's number 2. And we'll get to see number 3 as well. It's the snap over towards the car. Oh, Insight. Yeah, you've got it out, but I'm just that little bit faster. Illy with 3.
Well, great way to start, and one of the things that will cause is Ultra will now have to play around that sniper a little bit better. It's going to change their breakoffs. It's going to change the way they approach the bomb sites. And Optic make it 2-0. They're now on the defense. Illy with a sniper out once again.
Try and find those first bloods. As mentioned, when Ultra find those first bloods on attacking rounds in Embassy, they don't lose rounds. They've won every single one that they found the first blood in. This is looking like another 100% record. Shouldn't be threatened by a hook 1 versus 4, but you never know.
There's the first. Oh, that's a long shot for Avaznev. Duke having his own attempt here at the 1v4.
Slow and steady. Find the second, it becomes doable. Gets a bit of bad timing, but Toronto Ultra, that initial break, getting them back into this game. It felt like that was needed, especially the previous round pretty much wiped off the map after a close hard point. It's nice to get one under your belt. It's just aggression. As soon as they find that first one, they snap into life, and it's multiple that follow. Ultra back into the game on the border here in the search and destroy.
That's the kind of regain they wanted. Just a clean roll of S&D, and they can keep moving forward. Obviously, again, this is where we keep an eye on what Illy does, because Ultra will have to play around him this time. Different break for them, obviously. Kleenex already rushing through here, and they have hit him, so they know he's gone through. He's gone for the jump shot and instantly gets taken out. Inside has his own sniper, but they are now down the man.
Standing.
And Texas have the bomb.
Standy's on the flank and has taken up a little bit of control in office, so that gives Ultra not necessarily an upper hand, but he can help clear that. He has actually now jumped out. I think maybe they'll just be sitting down low, expecting the push to come on through. But Optic Texas are playing the clock here. Ultra need to move.
It's not really found anything yet, and let's look for this player here. You know, Shotzi's going to be there as well. He does get the one with a fight, and he gets the second. Problem is, there's no time. Insight's going to go on Overwatch. It's Insight versus Illy. It's a snipe off. Oh, he's just trying to thread the needle, and gets the first one. It's now Dashy. Dashy goes for it, and he's going to get it as well. And it's just enough for Poof. Gets a second kill regardless. He had to be composed in that moment. Insight was trying to throw that sniper and cover everything for him. And while he found Illy, it was not enough to find Dashy.
Just about getting the job done if you're Bruce. Big kills coming in. Illy just not quite holding the right angle, looking towards the bomb. The fight falls towards Toronto Ultra, but Dashi staying alive in that area. I kind of wish that Stanley stayed up top in office, because when that bomb goes down there, you know for a fact the players are going to be playing around that, playing around plant there. If he's in there, he can disrupt so much, chooses to give that map back, that map presence back towards Optic Texas. It's a tough one. Getting into the next round, though. Optic up. Who can near the bomb site? This is aggressive.
Yeah, but this is also great. So what's happened here is Optic Texas have taken away B-bomb control. This means that Ultra may go for the rotate, but Illy's going to be standing by the bomb site. Shotzi actually gets the first blood. How has he just done that? He just danced over a player, killed his teammate, and got away with it. And now looking for anybody who's come chasing.
Oh, this is a nightmare for Ultra. Stanley's going to check it, though, and will find Shotzi. Argue you could have found it about 20 seconds ago. Nonetheless, we'll find it. 3 versus 3 now.
Here he is. Oh, maybe a bit of COD timing. Illy, although does benefit him a bit, because we're looking for a player out there already. Scrap's taken down one. Illy, I think, caught the ricochet, and Stanley takes him down as well. Hugh now for a 1 versus 3. Failed the 1v4 last time. And they've already got a bit of information, Ton.
Yeah, set up in the perfect position for a push over towards B. And in a not so ideal spot for a push over towards B. A side, I should say. Really good play from Ultra. Finding the opening kill over towards that side. Standy getting stressed. You can see a little smile on his face as Shotzi pushed over, took down Insight, and skipped over his head. Be interesting to see that from Shotzi's angle once again. Standy, though, did make up for what was a ever so slight error, and the round will go towards Ultra nonetheless. Good round, though. They'll be happy with that. Just took their time. Played for some information. As soon as they found that info, they ran with it. Big push coming in over towards the A side of the map, and that's the bomb down. Round done. 2-2 back and forth. Nothing between these two so far.
Maybe another big push here for Optic. Standy's going to know that as well. They're going through. Optic are going for this fast plant. It's worked out for them a million times. Illy looking to thread the needle. Not that time.
He's getting pushed. He's getting pushed.
I'm going to be down in it with a no scope, but down he hit him. 2 versus 4. Oh. Dashy alone. Dashy alone. Doesn't matter. He's got a clip full of bullets, but not going to get it. Inside eventually gets it away. And what a round.
I mean, Illy hit him with that no scope, by the way. Hit marker comes through. Yep, he hit him. I seen the hit marker. He 100% hit him.
Oh, you're right. I just assumed he would have died, but no, must have shot him in the knee. That would have changed the entire round.
Completely changed the round, because then all of a sudden you've got Illy up top with a sniper. He's chilling, bombs down. We are cruising if you're Optic Texas. Good play. That's kind of what I wanted Standy to do in the previous round where he had control of that site. He give that area up. And that's that kind of area that you know exactly where they're going to be playing for once that B-bomb goes down. If you're an SMG in that area, snipers, well, for the most part, don't have an answer. 4v4 as we go into another round. Ultra starting to turn the cogs just that little bit. That's 2 rounds in a row.
Yeah, very different attacking styles here for both these two teams. Optic Texas going for that B fast plant. Ultra a little bit more slow and methodical. They are looking for something, but Shotzi is crawling his way into glory. Maybe.
Maybe. Is he going to catch Scrap off guard? Yes, he is. Big kill. Lovely positioning from Shotzi. It's going to be so annoying. You're running over towards that side of the map. There's an SMG with a Vaznev lying down. Easy kill. 4v3 now. Optic Texas still in this spot, and if you're Ultra again, it's having Shotzi behind you. It's for every team in the CDL. A nightmare, but unfortunately for Shotzi, Ultra have an insight.
Snipe off. Snipe off. Ultra don't have time for this, though. Illy holding his angle. Insight looking for one. Oh, he's just throwing a shoulder. He's dipping, he's dumping, he's diving. Insight not able to get it, but does stay alive as he's going to get his toes picked off.
But look at the time here for Ultra. You've got to do something really, really quickly. Hook's already here. Hook's already killing everybody on Ultra's side. They took so long to scout things out. Illy is the one that he can sit back. He doesn't need to force that shot. Ultra are the ones that have to make the move. And Hook is ready and waiting. 2 easy kills coming in from Hook. And Optic Texas find a round back.
Yeah, Ultra it's just running out of time. They just had to go for it, and they didn't have the opportunity to do anything else. And part of that is Shotzi slowing it all down. As soon as he found Scrap towards the back, you can see Ultra didn't really know what to do. They had to figure out how to get him out of there. They did it eventually, but they ran out of options. They had no map control. They had no time. Just had to run into Optic. Optic, is it the same playbook? Are they going straight for B? No, it's a change. The Clinics might know this because they haven't wall-banged that door.
Scrap has to back on down. He's the one with the sniper now. Illy trying to counter. Scrap's in trouble. Scrap's in trouble. Oh, is he? Is Illy the next one on the chopping block? Everybody else from Optic dead. Scrap in a 1v1 over here against Illy, who's in a 1v4.
Yeah, this time Illy doesn't have that sniper rifle. Oh, he's trying to do everything though, and eventually it will blow up on him. Gotta talk a little bit about that Scrap snipe. Close range, no problem. Hugh catches it in the chest.
It's so important he finds that. Yeah, I know there's a couple of kills come through from Ultra after that, but the fact that he finds the shot here, Insight actually finding that first blood on the dash sheet, helps the team out, because if who gets that, then there's control of the bomb site for Optic Texas. He's got Illy on Overwatch. It's a dangerous prospect for Ultra, still would have had numbers up, but important that Scrap found that kill.
This time, Ultra going to go for their own fast push. Only Standy out there, though. Oh, did he change his mind? Or was it a reposition?
Slightly repositioned it. The player here is going to be Shotzi. Looking for office control. Standy is just playing the job of, well, try and survive as long as he possibly can. Hook will take him down with the nade after some shots from Illy. Optic have the advantage in terms of numbers, but that bomb is still down for Toronto.
Shotzi's going to try and break this building open already. They're going for this defuse. Inside
right.
Illy's just going to go for the defuse. Already they're falling like dominoes, and that's a defuse! Optic, clean retake. B-bomb is their bread and butter.
That 100% plant win percentage for Toronto Ultra, dead in the water. And Shotzi finding the kills, or just being a nuisance over towards that side of the map, just helps them out so much, because they clear top office, and they know a player usually will try to watch across the street. That's typical play, stopping players making that push. But when Shotzi is already there and everybody else is starting to die, it's a difficult spot for Ultra to be in. Things are crumbling just a little bit here, Brycey. 4-4. Give me around 11.
There's always going to be close between these two, and here comes the fights again. Standard pre-fire there for Dashi. Tries to keep them off this bomb, but at the moment, keep an eye on that minimap because the bomb isn't here. Optic have managed to bait them out, and then he gets the first blood. Could wrap back around here. Shotzi. Oh, around again. Easy kill for him. He knows where the second and dives. And it's Ultra left alone at 1 versus 4. Kleenex will find the first, but he's outnumbered, outgunned, and there's guns everywhere pouring out of the woodwork. Optic Texas playbook is fantastic.
I mean, I absolutely love the play. As soon as Illy finds one, he's like, okay, I've got his attention. And he can just fly it inside, and Scrap's like, oh, right, oh, there's somebody up top. Oh, dude, I'm already dead. Phenomenal plays out of Optic Texas, who have just hit a different pace here today so far. Ultra are not at the races. I need to find 2 rounds. Oh, they're 2-0 down here in the series.
Wow, this is everything now for Ultra. Illy with a sniper once again. Hasn't been as impactful with it as that first round, but it doesn't matter. They're winning on the board. Shotzi gets the first blood as well.
Again.
It's a panic now for Ultra. They've actually abandoned B site. They don't want it. Oh, and he gets another one. And it all falls here. Standing.
No shot, right?
Oh, Illy making it look easy. And it's just a running over the freight train of Optic Texas has arrived. And they take the S&D. It's 2-0 now.
Oh, the Scump watch party's looking pretty lit right now. Optic Texas 2 up to the good. Against one of the most consistent teams in the league. The New Look Texas is looking just as good as they did last week.
Wow. All of Optic pulling their weight in that series. Huge amounts of damage. Pretty similar KDs across the board. But they know what they are doing on Embassy. The plays around that B-bomb site, from the fast plants to the bait outs to the retakes. That was the difference.
It's kind of crazy that we see nothing from Illy apart from 3 snipes in the very first round and then 1 each in the final 2. A poor mid-game made up for by fantastic kills coming in towards the end, but Shotzi was the MVP there for me, consistently in the faces of Ultra, and they didn't seem to have a way to deal with him. He was constantly up in office. Yep, okay, they're setting up, and Ultra very much like to head towards that B site, get the bomb down. You've got Overwatch from players like Insight. That's a perfect recipe for success, but when Shotzi is up in their face, there is very, very little you can do about it. Optic Texas, they need to get reverse sweep if Ultra want to win this one. This is looking good for Optic.
It certainly is looking good. How will the rest of the series be? That is the question that remains to be answered. We'll find out after this break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more Call of Duty League.
Upgrade your game with a Scuff, the official controller of the Call of Duty League. The Call of Duty League is presented by the GMC Hummer EV Pickup, the world's first all-electric super truck.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Call of Duty League. We are in a game. It's Toronto Ultra versus Optic Texas. And it has been incredible so far. The Toronto Ultra team, obviously, Kleenex, Inside, Scrap, and Standy have been fantastic so far in the qualifiers, but are falling now to a rejuvenated Optic Texas with their new roster, Hugh, Illy, Dashi, and Shotzi. It is missing one of the most famous faces in Call of Duty history, but right now, the vibes are high, Ton.
Yeah, they got to be feeling good. Optic fans watching this will be feeling fantastic. And that's based on the opponents they're going up against. But Scrap has been a big reason as to why Toronto Ultra have looked so good over the entire season with the 1.17 this series and 0.88. That is not like him. But we have a potential other 3 maps for him to turn that around. And you wouldn't bet against it. If he starts turning up Toronto Ultra, we'll be very much back into this game. For all that is a 2-0 lead for Optic, the maps have been close. This one could still go either way. But as we do head into Fortress Control, this is the very first time for Optic Texas that they will see this map. Toronto have only played it the once, beating Florida 3-0. So confidence will be flowing for Ultra, but can Optic close it out 3-0?
Already, there'll be a few kills going down. Only one player left alive. That's going to be Shotzi. Hiding in a stable, and it is crucial that he does this. And he has slipped the net almost. Kleenex catches him before he can get out, Tom.
Good pressure coming in here from Toronto Ultra. Nicely done from Kleenex as well, and they just want to trap them in as much as they can. I don't blame Optic Texas for not playing it up until now. This is a brutal one at times. It takes one decent break that can change the game. Shotzi, speaking of breaking movement, Hoop will fall also. Kleenex doing a great job up top armor here. It's another 4 dead. Toronto Ultra confident so far.
There we go. I was going to say, Kleenex actually needed some more ammo, and eventually he is going to fall, so it's not going to matter. But right now, Optic Texas just in a bottle, unable to break out, unable to do very much of anything, but getting some trades across the map, so if they can break out, there might be an opportunity.
The thing is, for Optic Texas here, you are not even touching the point. We've barely seen them get past gates. This has been as convincing as a lot of defensive rounds for the side of Toronto Ultra, but if you're Optic Texas, even if you don't win the round, you're looking to try and get some ticks somewhere. You've barely got a kill. This has been quite simply clinical from Toronto Ultra. Haven't allowed them out. No room to breathe, Optic Texas. Very little you could have done about that.
Yeah, that round is done, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it, Tom. It was not a pleasant watch. It wasn't. It was just Optic failed their break, and then they just stayed there.